Chapter 121. After packing up and moving the things into a rented van, the small house was surrounded by many neighbors. Free novel portal, after all, the grandfather and grandson had lived here for decades, and many people knew each other. And these were all poor people. At first glance, when they saw the grandfather and grandson move, they all showed surprise and envy. Many people came forward to say hello, saying that Tang Dahai was lucky to finally be able to walk out of the slums. They also said that they had seen Tang Zheng as a promising child since he was young, and it was true. Everyone was generous with their praise, expressing their blessings to the grandfather and grandson. Tang Dahai also responded enthusiastically, and there was no sense of pride or vanity at all. As an old man who had been honed by life for decades, those useless vanity feelings had long been thrown to the back of his mind, and what was left was only simplicity. In the sound of a group of people shouting to come back more often, the van started and drove towards the new house. Wind and water. Tang Zheng let his grandfather be the first to enter the house. When the old man stepped into the new house, he was still a little uncomfortable, as if he was afraid that his shoes would dirty the floor. Then, he was shocked by the new house. The decoration of the house was very luxurious, and the furniture and appliances were all high-end goods. Tang Dahai had never seen many of them before. He was like Granny Lu who had just entered the Grandview garden. But there was no vanity, only amazement. "Grandfather, you rest first and visit the new house. I'll go move the luggage." Tang Zheng sat the old man down on the sofa and then ran downstairs. Fang Shishir also followed. It was already May, and the weather was gradually getting hot. Fang Shishir's face was sweating again, but her face was always full of smiles. Tang Zheng had been in the same class with her for 3 years, but he had never seen so many smiles. "You're tired too. Rest at home. I'll take care of these things in a while." Tang Zheng took care of everything. You want to leave me alone? No way. Labor is the most glorious. I also want to be glorious. Fang Shishir rushed to carry a bag of luggage in her arms. Like a small soldier in a rapid march, she quickly went upstairs. Tang Zheng shook his head and smiled. He did not stop her, but the warmth in his heart grew stronger and stronger. Tang Zheng was very strong, and there was an elevator. It didn't take long for the luggage to be moved into the new house. In fact, many of the things that Tang Dahai brought were useless and took up space. Tang Zheng did not interfere, because these things all contained his grandfather's memories, so it did not matter if they took up a little space. In a home, the most important thing was to live comfortably. With these old things, Tang Dahai would be comfortable. Tang Dahai had mixed feelings. He was gradually adapting to this new environment. From the balcony overlooking the courtyard, there were many old people moving around. The environment was indeed very comfortable. "Little Zheng, you guys rest well at home. I'll go down and familiarize myself with the environment. I'll also go to the market and buy some groceries." "Little girl, don't go. Stay here and eat," Tang Dahai said. "Grandfather will go with you," Fang Shishir said obediently. Tang Dahai waved his hand. "No need. You guys have been tired for half a day. Rest first. I'll be back in 2 hours." Grandfather left, leaving only 2 people in the large room. Fang Shishir looked at Tang Zheng with shining eyes and asked, "Are you happy moving to a new house?" "Of course I'm happy, but I see that you're even happier than me. You always have a smile on your face. Labor is glorious. Of course I'm happy. Is it only because of labor, and no other reason?" Tang Zheng asked mischievously. Fang Shishir's charming face blushed. "What other reason could there be? Could it be that there's no reason for me?" "Shameless." Fang Shishir stuck out her tongue. "I'm shameless, but you're really beautiful." "How am I beautiful? I'm covered in sweat." Receiving the praise of her beloved, Fang Shishir said insincerely, "Covered in sweat? Let me smell it." Tang Zheng hugged her, put his nose on her body, took a few deep breaths and said, "How is it smelly sweat? It's clearly dripping with fragrant sweat." Fang Shishir giggled. "How is sweat fragrant? You don't mean what you say." "That's not what I said. The ancients said a faint fragrance of flowers, a faint fragrance of women. Your body is really fragrant. If you don't believe me, you can smell it." Tang Zheng said seriously, "Then I'll smell it." Fang Shishir raised her arm and smelled it. Indeed, there wasn't much of a smell, but the fragrance of a young girl was a bit stronger because of the evaporation of sweat. Isn't it fragrant? Let me smell it again. Tang Zheng's face moved down from her neck to her towering chest, and then he didn't want to leave. You dare to be naughty. Fang Shishir immediately saw through his intentions, grabbed his ear and said coquettishly, How am I naughty? I'm such a pure person. Tang Zheng didn't even raise his head as he said with an evil smile, Humph, I was deceived by your innocence before. You really are a big bad person. Fang Shishir's tone became hurried. Hurry and get up, otherwise I'll twist your ear. Twist it, even if you twist my ear. I won't be willing to get up. Tang Zheng said mischievously. Fang Shishir helplessly put down her hand, admitting defeat. I really don't know what to do with you. Hey, last time we didn't finish, but you promised me to continue. Fang Shishir immediately remembered the intimacy they had last time in that small room. Her heart thumped wildly, and her cheeks became even redder. Bad person? So you still remember this matter? Of course I remember. How could I forget such an important matter? Tang Zheng said as a matter of fact. Fang Shishir's breathing couldn't help but quicken, and her body began to heat up. She shyly said, I'm sweating, I can't. It's okay. You'll be sweating later anyway. You are really bad. Fang Shishir was helpless. Listen, whose heart is beating faster? Your heart betrayed your true thoughts. Tang Zheng put his ear on her chest. Fang Shishir hurriedly tried to break free, but when she straightened her body, it was as if she took the initiative to press her chest on his face. How could Tang Zheng let go of this great opportunity? And his face fiercely pressed on top, changing the shape of his face. Fang Shishir let out a suppressed scream, but she didn't know that this scream was full of temptation. Tang Zheng's hand tightened, and the two people's bodies were tightly pressed together. We moved to a new house, so of course we have to celebrate. Tang Zheng raised his head, and their eyes met, and their two faces were almost touching. Two pairs of eyes were filled with deep affection, and Fang Shishir almost melted in his eyes. Not only did her body soften, but her heart also softened. The two people's mouths slowly kissed together, and the familiar taste and feeling exploded from the bottom of their hearts. Let's go to bed. Tang Zheng picked her up by the waist and walked towards the bedroom. Fang Shishir leaned her head on his shoulder, bit her lips and said, Grandpa will be back. Didn't Grandpa say that he would be back in 2 hours? It's still early. Tang Zheng was definitely not willing to give up halfway this time. Humph, you've been planning this for a long time. Fang Shishir said coquettishly. Hey, how could that be? I'm very pure. Tang Zheng laughed evilly. Pure your head. Fang Shishir knocked his forehead. Tang Zheng gently put her on the bed, and her curvaceous body immediately appeared, causing his eyes to stare at her. Brat, take her down in one go. Tian Chanzi said. Go away. Tang Zheng quickly sealed him, not giving him a chance to do a free show. The two people were entangled together, and Tang Zheng's hands were not obedient and began to attack. Fang Shishir's clothes were taken off one by one, and soon, only her bra was left on her upper body. Looking at the hemispherical shape that was wrapped up, his eyes were about to spit fire, and his body temperature rose even higher, and the true qi in his veins began to become restless. It was such a beautiful scene, and it would be a pity to block it. So he quickly took off her bra, but after a long time, he still couldn't get it. Poochie. Fang Shishir looked at his embarrassed state and couldn't help but laugh. Tang Zheng's face was red with embarrassment, and he said resentfully, It's the first time. The first time. I'm not familiar with it, and I really don't know how to take it off. Fang Shishir glanced at him flirtatiously, and she reached behind her and gently took off her bra, revealing the beautiful scene in front of Tang Zheng's eyes. Gulp. Tang Zheng forcefully swallowed his saliva. Stupid. Fang Shishir was shy and sweet, but she saw the deep love in the eyes of the person she loved, so she gathered her courage and straightened her chest. Tang Zheng was like a hungry wolf, and he pounced on her. A moment later, the two of them were completely naked, and their bodies were covered in sweat. Tang Zheng used all his strength, but he found that his knowledge in this area was too lacking, and he couldn't get it right. He was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. Feng Shishir was about to melt, and she hugged his waist and shyly encouraged him. Try again. This time it will definitely work. It was the first time for both of them, and they were inexperienced. Tang Jing naturally wouldn't give up, or else he would despise himself in the future. He finally used all his strength, and after studying for a long time, he finally succeeded. Feng Shishir's shy cry of pain made Tang Jing's movement stop. Is it very painful? He asked with heartache. Feng Shishir frowned, nodded, and then took a deep breath and said, Slow down. Tang Jing was afraid of hurting her, so he went from slow to fast, and the two of them finally went through the mountain of Wu and wandered in that wonderful feeling. The true qi in Tang Jing's body was like boiling water, and his body temperature suddenly rose like a red-hot iron. But Feng Shishir didn't feel anything. Her eyes were half closed, and she bit her lips. Her face was crimson red, and she was full of shyness and satisfaction. Tang Jing was like a wild horse galloping through the prairie, and he freely scattered his energy. The purine energy continuously passed from Feng Shishir's body into his. This purine energy was like a solid substance, and it was so thick that it couldn't be dissolved. It flowed through his meridians, and in an instant, it came into contact with the boiling true qi. The boiling true qi was like a violent child meeting a loved one, and under the affectionate comfort, it began to become docile and grow. The true qi in the 9 main meridians rose from 4 inches and 6 parts to 7 parts, 8 parts, as if there was no end. Chapter 122. His Zhan qi crazily rose, causing others to be flabbergasted. Tang Jing did not realize this at all because he and Feng Shishir were completely immersed in this wonderful feeling. Making love on a mountain, the two people's hearts and bodies merged together, harmonizing with each other. Being rolled by waves, their figures alternated. The sound of breathing and panting did not stop, as if it was a concerto, causing people's hearts to palpitate with excitement, full of temptation. Suddenly, 2 slightly high-pitched cries were heard, and 2 bodies tightly hugged each other. The wind stopped and the rain stopped. A blazing stream of qi entered Feng Shishir's body, quickly flowing through her meridians. Her 8 extraordinary meridians, 4 limbs, and hundreds of bones were all undergoing earth-shattering changes. Her skin was flushed, and the corner of her mouth hung a satisfied smile. Her eyes were like autumn water, filled with deep affection and sweetness. Tang Jing's entire body quivered as he instantly felt the changes in his body. That viscous purine energy and pure yang energy completely neutralized, causing his true qi to rise with a whooshing sound. It actually crossed 5 inches and did not stop there. He suddenly remembered what Tian Chanzi said. It seems that it was true, absorbing so much purine energy in one go. His cultivation actually made a qualitative leap. At this moment, he was already a 5th-grade qi refining cultivator, and he did not know what realm he could reach in the end. He did not waste this great opportunity, and hurriedly operated the ancient clear heaven scroll. Immediately, his Zhan qi soared even faster, unexpectedly surpassing 6 inches in one go. 6 inches meant that he was a 6th-grade qi refining cultivator. According to what Tian Chanzi said, even the disciples of the large sects in the cultivation world did not have such a fast cultivation speed. The 9 young saint body was indeed extraordinary. Although there was a risk of exploding, the saying that risk and opportunity coexisted was not wrong. His Zhan qi did not rise any further, steadily stopping at 6 inches, but this was enough to make Tang Jing go wild with joy. Seeing Tang Jing motionless with a strange expression, Feng Shishir hurriedly asked with concern, "What happened to you?" Tang Jing could not hide his joy, and could not help but kiss her forehead. "Shishir, thank you." Feng Shishir smiled charmingly and rebuked, "Why are you thanking me for this?" Tang Jing lay on the bed and held her in his arms. He gently stroked her black hair with one hand and slid his other hand down her snow-white back. Feng Shishir lay on his chest obediently. The redness on her body had not completely disappeared. Her fair skin was tinged with red, making her look exceptionally alluring. "I've already given myself to you, so you must treat me well in the future, do you understand?" Feng Shishir rubbed his chest and said softly. Ever since Tang Zheng started practicing martial arts, his body had become more robust. His muscles were clearly defined, but they did not have the terrifying explosive feeling of a bodybuilder. Instead, he had a well-proportioned body with great strength. Fang Shishir lay on his chest, like a drifting boat anchored in a sheltered harbor. No storm could disturb her. I'll definitely treat you well, Tang Zheng solemnly promised. I believe in you. Looking at her exquisite body, Tang Zheng felt that at this moment, he was the happiest man in the world. He was filled with pride and a sense of accomplishment. His gaze slowly moved down from the top to the bottom, admiring the most beautiful scenery. Suddenly, a touch of red jumped into his line of sight, attracting his gaze. Fang Shishir felt his burning gaze and subconsciously looked over. She softly exclaimed and shyly said, "You're not allowed to look." She quickly grabbed the bedsheet. There were a few drops of blood on it. It was dark red like a blooming flower. "Do you have a pair of scissors?" Fang Shishir asked. Tang Zheng was puzzled. "What do you need a pair of scissors for?" "Don't worry about it. Quickly go and find it for me." Tang Zheng was naked. He resentfully got off the bed and went out to find a pair of scissors. Fang Shishir saw him swagger over and was also naked. She could not help but feel ashamed. "Are you an exhibitionist? You don't even wear clothes when you go out." Tang Zheng laughed mischievously. "Anyway, there's only the two of us at home. What's there to be afraid of?" Fang Shishir took the scissors and with a few kacha, she cut off the blood-stained bedsheet. A large hole appeared on the bedsheet. Tang Zheng was shocked. "Why are you cutting the bedsheet?" "It's none of your business." Fang Shishir carefully folded the small piece of bedsheet and put it in her pocket. Tang Zheng bitterly sighed. "Ai, my bedsheet. Why is your life so bitter? Your mistress didn't like you and directly dismembered you." Fang Shishir hurriedly waved the scissors and threatened, "Don't say it. Be careful or I'll cut you." Tang Zheng hurriedly covered his lower part and said, "That won't do. Besides, how can you bear to do it?" "Humph, I'm very generous. I won't bear to do it." Fang Shishir clenched her teeth and made a fierce expression. Tang Zheng looked at the hole and suddenly remembered something. He was shocked. "We didn't take any protective measures. Will I be pregnant?" "Right. What if I'm pregnant?" Fang Shishir paused for a moment and suddenly asked in a panic. Tang Zheng had never thought of having a big fat boy at his age. He could not help but feel a chill in his heart. He was too impulsive just now. Many times, men are easily blinded by desire. But looking at Fang Shishir's panicked appearance, his heart trembled and said, "Let's go buy medicine later. I know this medicine is not good for the body, but this is the first time. I won't be so reckless in the future. I will take precautions." "Haha, look at your scared face." Fang Shishir laughed and pointed at him, saying, "I thought you really weren't afraid of anything. You look so cute right now." Tang Zheng knew that he was embarrassed, but he did not care. He said seriously, "Don't laugh. I'm serious. We can't have children at this age, so we have to take precautions." Fang Shishir was still smiling. Looking at his serious appearance, tears were about to come out of her eyes. "Don't worry, I'm just teasing you. Today is my safe period. It's fine." Fang Shishir finally revealed the truth. "Safe period? What's that?" Tang Zheng was baffled. He was really lacking in knowledge. "Anyway, it's fine. Don't worry. You looked so cute when you were so serious." Fang Shishir still could not hide her smile. Tang Zheng scratched his head. It seemed that he had to cram in knowledge in this area in the future. Fang Shishir was more mature than other girls. She appreciated his attitude after the incident. She did not think that it was manly for a man to say that he would give birth to a child if she was pregnant. On the contrary, that was the greatest harm to a girl. Because at this age, it was impossible to think about children. Tang Zheng's was a mature countermeasure. Tang Zheng breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing that she was still laughing, he pounced on her and said fiercely, "You dare to laugh at me? I'll let you know my power." "Ah, no." Fang Shishir hurriedly dodged, but how could she escape from Tang Zheng's claws? She was teased until she was panting, "No, I'm going to take a shower. Grandpa will be back soon." "You want to take a shower, right? Then let's take a shower together." After saying that, he did not wait for her to react. He carried her by the waist and rushed into the bathroom. After a while, the sound of water mixed with seductive panting sounded again. Tang Zheng and Feng Shishir were neatly dressed. They sat on the sofa and watched TV. Feng Shishir was lazily nestled in his arms. She was absent-mindedly staring at the TV screen while talking to him. Click. The sound of a key turning the door lock was heard. Feng Shishir was like a frightened deer. She immediately climbed out of his arms and sat upright. "Grandpa, you're back." Tang Zheng greeted him. Tang Dahai had bought a lot of vegetables. "Wow, Grandpa, you bought so many vegetables. Moving to a new house. Of course, we have to celebrate." "Okay, I'll go cook. Tonight's dinner is very sumptuous. Let me help." Feng Shishir volunteered. Tang Zheng winked at her, indicating that she should not move. She was really tormented by Tang Zheng. Moreover, it was her first time tasting a man and a woman. Her body was slightly unwell, and she should not move too much. Otherwise, it would be easy for Tang Dahai to find out. Feng Shishir rolled her eyes at him, as if to say that it was not his fault. She did not stand up. "Shishir, you're tired from moving. You can watch TV. Leave the kitchen to us." Tang Dahai also said. Obviously, he did not find anything strange. The kitchen rang with the sound of pots and pans ding-dang. Feng Shishir listened to it and felt particularly comfortable. It was better than any music. It made her feel the warmth and tranquility of home. After dinner, it was already late. Feng Shishir did not dare to stay any longer in order to avoid being exposed. She hurriedly asked Tang Zheng to send her home. At this time, Tian Chanzi's seal was lifted. He did not give up and shouted, "Boy, I really regret teaching you the sealing technique. Every time you seal me up, I'm so angry. You can't look at what you shouldn't look at. Don't you understand this principle? You're still a master." Tang Zheng jokingly said, "Who said that I would peek? I'm so powerful. Don't tell me that I don't understand the principle of not looking at indecent things." Tian Chanzi indignantly defended himself. "I don't believe you in this aspect, Hai. You're questioning my character. You're making me angry." Tian Chanzi shouted. Suddenly, he was surprised. "Boy, how did your cultivation become 6th grade refining qi? Didn't you say that purine energy could help me improve my cultivation?" Tang Zheng asked. Tian Chanzi was making a fuss over nothing. "I did say that, but it didn't increase this fast. This is completely beyond my expectations. I originally thought that breaking through to the 5th grade refining qi would be amazing, but this is directly breaking through to the 6th grade refining qi. Do you know the principle that the further you cultivate, the harder it is?" Tian Chanzi was still immersed in shock, chattering endlessly. Tang Zheng was already used to his own speed. He disapprovingly said, "Isn't it a good thing that my cultivation speed has increased?" Tian Chanzi was speechless. He could only mutter to himself, "You're really a monster. This speed is too abnormal." "Hai, didn't you always say that I wasn't human? Isn't my monstrous speed in line with my identity?" Tang Zheng proudly said. Tian Chanzi simply ignored his complacency. But after a while, Tian Chanzi once again screamed, "This girl, she..." It seemed that something unbelievable had happened that caused him to lose his composure. Chapter 123. Tang Zheng was shocked as he thought that something bad had happened to Feng Shishir and hurriedly asked, "Tian Chanzi, what happened to Shishir? How did her physique change?" Tian Chanzi asked in bewilderment, "Physique? Doesn't she have a purine body?" Tang Zheng was a bit confused. She indeed still has a purine body, but her nature has undergone an earth-shattering change. Her current physique is too suitable for cultivation, as if a top expert had used a supreme divine ability to transform her physique. Tian Chanzi exclaimed. If they were face to face, Tang Zheng felt that he would definitely be able to see Tian Chanzi's mouth as if it was stuffed with a duck egg. Tang Zheng was also shocked as he only had the most intimate relationship with her. So how did her physique change? "I know, it must be something you did. The Nine Young Saint body actually has such a divine ability. I have never heard of it before." Tian Chanzi did not know if he was envious or jealous as he exclaimed. Tang Zheng was happy as Feng Shishir being suitable for cultivation was not a bad thing but a great thing. Tang Zheng was a cultivator, and according to what the heaven monk said, his aging would become very slow, and his lifespan would also become longer. However, the aging of ordinary people was too fast, and their lifespan was also short. He was just worried that he could not find a solution, and since Feng Shishir was suitable for cultivation, then he would let her cultivate as well. This way she could protect herself when she was alone, and even if she went abroad to study in the future, it would be much safer. It was killing two birds with one stone. Tang Zheng ignored the stunned Tian Chanzi and hurriedly asked, Tian Chanzi, do you have a suitable cultivation method for her to cultivate? What do you mean, brat? Since you said that her physique is suitable for cultivation, then of course we can't waste it, Tang Zheng said as a matter of fact. Tian Chanzi muttered to himself for a while before saying, No. F***ck. Tian Chanzi, don't tell me you can't even bear to part with a set of techniques? Tang Zheng said unhappily. Don't interrupt. I'm not saying that I won't give her a cultivation method, but with such a good physique, it would be a waste to just give her a random cultivation method. Do you know that it is a sin to waste such a good physique? Tang Zheng understood the meaning behind his words and said, Then you don't have to hide it. Quickly give me a set of powerful techniques. Of course there are powerful cultivation methods, but how can they be given to others so casually? What do you mean? Every sect has its own treasured cultivation method. Wouldn't it be a mess if they just randomly gave it away? Then what should we do? I don't care. If you dare to give her a roadside stall like a perfunctory cultivation method, I definitely won't let you off, Tang Jing threatened fiercely. Am I that kind of person who would measure the heart of a gentleman with the yardstick of a villain? Little brat, at the beginning because of the ancient clear heaven scroll, I was unable to accept you as my disciple. Now that I have accepted her as my disciple, it can be considered as a form of compensation. Our acquaintance was not in vain. Tian Chanzi spoke frankly with assurance. You want to accept Shishir as your disciple? Tang Zheng really did not think that this would be the result. Of course, I'm kind enough, Tian Chanzi said flatteringly. I see that you have your own little calculations, right? You discovered that Shishir's physique is excellent, so you had the idea of accepting her as your disciple. Tang Zheng's words exposed the mystery. Tian Chanzi was seen through and resentfully said, I'm just being impatient, you know? This kind of good seedling, of course I can't waste it. I, Tian Chanzi, will definitely be able to teach a peerless disciple. Tang Zheng's heart moved. Although Tian Chanzi was sometimes unreliable, he was more than enough to be a master. Moreover, he was very knowledgeable about cultivation. Little brat, let me tell you, if this little girl does not accept me as her master, I will not be able to teach her a top-level cultivation technique because this is the sect's rule. I cannot break the rules, do you understand? Tian Chanzi said solemnly. Don't make up excuses yourself. What sect's rules? Tang Zheng retorted. I'm so angry, little brat. You take my good intentions for ill intent. Okay, then we'll do as you say and let her accept you as her master. But I want to make it clear, if you are not a competent master, then don't blame me for letting her join another sect. Tian Chanzi snorted. It's hard to find such a competent master under the heavens. Only you would waste such a heaven-sent opportunity. Don't talk big. You should think about what kind of cultivation technique to give her. Of course, it's the cloud water technique. This is the top-level cultivation technique that my sect's female disciples cultivate. When cultivated to the peak, they will have the ability to pierce through heaven and earth. You're exaggerating. I'm just speaking the truth. How can you make her accept you as her master when you're in my head? Hey, I originally thought that I would have to wait a long time before I could be reborn, but you little brat, your abnormal cultivation speed completely exceeded my expectations. Therefore, the day of my rebirth is not far away. Really? Tang Zheng was overjoyed. Speaking of which, it was a bit awkward to have another soul living in his head. Of course, you've already reached the 6th grade refining chi. My soul has also been nourished to a strong enough level that I can be reborn. However, a vessel is not easy to find. Now that so many people have died, just randomly find one, Tang Zheng deliberately suggested. Bullshit. Do you think that I, Tian Chanzi, can casually find a vessel for my rebirth? You have to choose carefully, otherwise I'll just stay in your head and not leave. If you don't leave, then don't even think about accepting a disciple. Little brat, do you really want to anger me to death before you're satisfied? Tang Zheng laughed. Don't be angry. Isn't this for your own good? During this time, we'll properly look for a vessel. That's more like it. Don't worry. Although I can't make her accept me as her master right now, I can still pass on the cloud water technique to her. You just need to guide her according to what I said. In the future, when I'm reborn, we'll clearly explain everything to her so that I don't scare her. If you say it like that, then it seems that you're more competent as her master. Then I'll agree on her behalf. Hurry up and give me the cloud water technique. A light flashed in Tang Zheng's head. There was already a new technique chant. Carefully examining it, with Tang Zheng's eyes, it was indeed very exquisite. Tang Zheng, why aren't you saying anything? Seeing that they were almost at the door, Fang Shishir curiously asked. Shishir, I have a very serious matter to tell you. Tang Zheng stopped and said seriously, What matter? Why are you so serious? Fang Shishir laughed involuntarily. Don't tell me you're thinking of something bad in your head? Tang Zheng seriously said, It's a serious matter. You know that I know martial arts, right? I know. I heard that Yi Dingdang is not your opponent. I also heard that Yi Dingdang's martial arts are not bad. Now when she talked about Yi Dingdang, she no longer felt a strong sense of crisis because her relationship with Tang Zheng was already confirmed. It was not something that Yi Dingdang could compare to. Yes, but I'm not the same as her. She's a martial artist, and I'm a cultivator. We have two different systems. Martial artist, cultivator. Fang Shishir's eyes widened, as if she was listening to a heavenly book. Tang Zheng then explained the systems of martial artists and cultivators. Fang Shishir was even more confused as this was beyond her scope of understanding. You're saying that cultivators can fly and burrow into the ground, as well as have the ability to see through heaven and earth?
Yes.
Then do you know all these things now? Fang Shishir's eyes began to emit little stars as she looked at her boyfriend with interest. Any girl would hope that her boyfriend would be strong enough. Moreover, Tang Zheng was a cultivator, which added a mysterious aura to his body, making him particularly attractive. Tang Zheng embarrassedly said, I know a bit of magic, but it's still far from being able to fly and burrow into the ground. Magic? Fang Shishir covered her mouth as she stared at him and probingly asked, What kind of magic? Can I see it? It's just a little. Fang Shishir expectantly said. Tang Zheng agreed, so he would show it off a little. It could also increase her motivation and interest in cultivation. However, the spells he knew were sealing techniques, alchemy techniques, and body-fixing techniques. These were not suitable for him to show off, but the true fire was very effective. He looked around and seeing that there was no one around, he handsomely extended a finger. A light purple flame instantly appeared on his fingertip and burned fiercely. Fire. Your finger is actually on fire. Fang Shishir had lived for 18 years and had never seen such a shocking thing. She covered her mouth as her eyes widened. This isn't magic, right? Of course not. Then can I touch it? No, this fire won't hurt me, but it will hurt you. Oh. Fang Shishir nodded as if she understood. Her eyes gradually lit up as she stared at the true fire, as if she wanted to study it thoroughly. Shishir, do you want to learn? Can I also learn? Of course you can. Your physique is very good and very suitable for cultivation. Really? Fang Shishir was so happy that she almost jumped up. Then in the future, can I also be as strong as you? Of course. Maybe you'll be even stronger than me. I want to learn. I want to learn. Fang Shishir nodded her head like she was pounding garlic. She couldn't wait and fantasized that the two of them would be a celestial couple. But I don't know anything. It's because you don't know that you have to learn. There is someone who wants to take you as a disciple, but it's not convenient for him to show up right now. So I will first teach you on his behalf. When he shows up in the future, you can take him as your master. I have a master? Fang Shishir was very surprised. She was immersed in her studies all year round, so this kind of novel and exciting thing made her little heart beat fast. Yes, but right now I am teaching you temporarily. Then wouldn't you be my substitute master? Fang Shishir covered her mouth and couldn't help but chuckle. Tang Zheng hadn't discovered that she had such a strange side to her and couldn't help but laugh, finding it very interesting. Master, please accept a bow from your disciple. She imitated the way a servant girl in ancient times would bow to her master and then couldn't help but laugh. Preposterous. How can she bow to you? She should bow to me. Tian Chanzi was very angry and shouted jealously. We are just playing around. Don't take it seriously. You really don't understand the fun. Tang Zheng choked him and Tian Chanzi quieted down again. Come, let's go into the room first. Then I will teach you the cultivation method. You must concentrate on cultivating. It's too noisy outside. Tang Zheng decided to strike while the iron was hot and lead her on the road of cultivation tonight. Chapter 124. The two entered Fang Shishir's room under the strange gazes of Fang Chonghua and Shi Mingqin, a light fragrance causing one to feel refreshed. Caret o caret, caret o caret, Tang Zheng had her sit down and tapped her forehead with his finger, causing the cloud water technique to appear in her mind. Fang Shishir stared in disbelief. If not for Tang Zheng repeatedly telling her to calm down, she would have jumped up. Tang Zheng guided her step by step in her cultivation, explaining the key points of the technique. Fang Shishir's comprehension ability was quite strong, and she immediately understood. Following the cloud water technique, as time passed, strands of spiritual energy from the heavens and earth converged into her body, transforming into true qi that flowed through her meridians. My eyes were not wrong. She really is suited for cultivation. Before long, she will be able to reach the first grade of refining qi. Tian Chanzi was unable to contain his joy. But compared to a monster like you, she is still lacking a bit. That's right, in this world, there are only a few monsters like you. Tian Chanzi said with regret. Tang Zheng helplessly gave a bitter smile. Originally, he had read through the ancient clear heaven scroll once, and then mysteriously reached the first grade of refining qi, which was truly abnormal. Then can she use the spirit gathering pill? Don't be in a hurry. Right now we need to lay down the foundation. It is best not to rely on external items, and instead rely on her own strength to slowly build her body and solidify her foundation. This will greatly benefit her future cultivation. Tian Chanzi denied. Who? Fang Shishir let out a breath of turbid air and opened her eyes. Her eyes were much brighter than before, and she was pleasantly surprised. I can feel it. There is a stream of energy flowing through my body. It is too magical. That is true qi, the source of power. The more true qi you have, the higher your cultivation will be, and the stronger your strength will be. Then I will definitely work hard to cultivate. You are currently at the 6th grade of refining qi, so I will work hard to catch up to you. Fang Shishir was filled with fighting spirit. Haha, good. However, don't give yourself too much pressure. After all, I started cultivating before you. In the future, you can slowly cultivate. If you have anything you don't understand, just ask me. Fang Shishir hurriedly nodded. After a pause, she asked, Can we tell someone about this? Of course not. This is our secret. I don't know how many cultivators there are in this world. Our strength is too weak. If others find out, it's hard to guarantee that we won't be in danger. I know. I'll keep it a secret. Fang Shishir said with a smile. She and Tang Zheng were the same type of people, which undoubtedly made the bond between the two of them even more unbreakable. Then I'll go back first. Wait a minute. Fang Shishir stood up and kissed Tang Zheng on the lips. This is your reward. Go back. Tang Zheng returned home under the watchful eyes of the Fang couple. The next day, when Tang Zheng arrived at school, he was stopped by Lu Qingmei at the door of the classroom. Your injuries are better? Lu Qingmei calmly asked. Thank you, Teacher Lu, for your concern. My injuries are already better. When did you get better? Yesterday. Is that so? You've been recuperating at home these past few days? Yes. Injuries to the muscles and bones take 100 days to heal. In order to come to school earlier, I've been recuperating at home. Fortunately, my body is still quite strong, so it healed faster. Lu Qingmei stared at him as if she wanted to discern the truth of his words. Logically speaking, with 2 broken ribs, one shouldn't be able to recover so quickly. However, looking at Tang Zheng's appearance, It didn't seem like he had just recovered. It was certain that he had been recovering for several days. Lu Qingmei couldn't help but wonder if the doctor made a mistake. In short, Tang Zheng was definitely deliberately avoiding the monthly exam. The day before yesterday, I saw the good play at Shangfeng Shangshui, Lu Qingmei suddenly said. Tang Zheng was startled and looked at her in surprise. I saw on the spot that a certain person was full of spirit and didn't look like he was recuperating. Why do you think that is? Lu Qingmei calmly asked. Tang Zheng felt anger from the other's seemingly calm eyes. She must have seen through his thoughts. He couldn't help but awkwardly say, "Perhaps?" But he couldn't think of a reason. "Say it. Perhaps what?" Lu Qingmei faintly smiled. Suddenly, her voice rose a few octaves. "Tang Zheng, you really have big guts. You actually dared to lie to me. What did you promise me at the time?" Tang Zheng was embarrassed and speechless. "You don't have anything to say? You actually pretended to be sick to avoid the monthly exam. What do you think we should do?" Lu Qingmei angrily said. "Can we move this promise to the college entrance exam?" Tang Zheng suggested. He was originally prepared to make a comeback during the college entrance exam and then ruthlessly slap the old witch in the face and kick her out of the school. "Okay, then let's move it to the college entrance exam. Were you already prepared to shock everyone during the college entrance exam? Is that why you made a bet with Wu Cuihong?" Lu Qingmei speculated. Tang Zheng laughed. "Teacher Lu even guessed this. I was just wondering why you were so confident at that time. So it turns out that you were already prepared to let her fall into your trap. What a good plan." Lu Qingmei was also very surprised at Tang Zheng's plan. "If it wasn't for her pressuring me step by step, I wouldn't have set this trap for her." Tang Zheng shrugged and explained, "I don't care about the matter between you and her. But as punishment for deliberately cheating, in a few days you will go to a dance party with me." "Dance party?" "Yes, I will inform you of the specific time. If you dare to break the promise again, do you believe that I won't tell Wu Cuihong and make your plan fail?" Lu Qingmei threatened. Tang Zheng inwardly sighed. Since he had been caught by her, then he could only beg for mercy. "Also, I am very clear about the matter between you and Feng Shishir. The fact that you accepted her house is very explosive. If you don't obediently listen to me, then I will spread the news. Hee, then you will really become the school's enemy," Lu Qingmei said with an evil smile. Tang Zheng had never seen her smile like this before. He couldn't help but be dazzled for a moment. He immediately realized the seriousness of her words and hurriedly said, "Teacher Lu, this time I will definitely not break the promise. I will definitely properly complete the task you gave me." "That's more like it." Lu Qingmei patted his shoulder. "That's right. Accepting a woman's house is not something to be ashamed of. Don't take it too seriously." Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was actually mistaken for Xiaobai's face. When he sat down, he was still conflicted over Lu Qingmei's misunderstanding. Should he tell her that he was not Xiaobai's face? This misunderstanding was too big as it concerned his reputation. "Forget it. I won't explain. Anyways, I don't have a good impression of her. Maybe if her impression of me was a bit worse, then she wouldn't notice me and the matter of that night would be over." He was about to let his imagination run wild when he heard Yi Dingdong's voice. "Hey, you're so preoccupied this early in the morning. What are you doing?" "Nothing. Are your injuries better?" "They're better." Yi Dingdang leaned over, her face brimming with joy. "Let me tell you a piece of good news." "What good news?" "I've already broken through to the 5th grade refining body." "Oh, congratulations." Tang Zheng guessed that it must be the effect of the Jade Women's Heart Sutra. "Hey, don't you feel a bit disappointed? Show it. I won't laugh at you," Yi Dingdang said with a smile, unable to hide the pride between her brows. Tang Zheng scratched his head and suspiciously said, "Why would I be disappointed?" "Haha, you still won't admit it. You're a 4th grade refining body and I'm a 5th grade refining body. Now that my cultivation is finally higher than yours, shouldn't you be disappointed?" Yi Dingdang boasted. She had been dealt a heavy blow by Tang Zheng before. "I haven't had the time to tell you that I'm now a 6th grade refining body," Tang Zheng lightly said. Yi Dingdong's expression immediately froze as if someone had cast a spell on her. She stared dumbstruck at Tang Zheng, wondering if she had heard wrong. After a while, She finally reacted and exclaimed, "You said you're a 6th grade refining body?" Seeing Tang Zheng nod his head, she was dealt a heavy blow as she exclaimed, "How is that possible? Aren't you just a 4th grade refining body? How did you reach the 6th grade refining body?" Tang Zheng shrugged his shoulders. "This means that my progress is extremely fast. Are you taking advantage of me not being able to see through your cultivation, so you deliberately lied to me?" She still could not believe this result. "Am I that bored?" Tang Zheng retorted. Yi Dingdong's face immediately turned into a bitter melon color. She had finally broken through with great difficulty and thought that she had won against him, but she did not expect that he would actually overtake her. This huge difference made her want to cry but have no tears. "Not fair. This is not fair." She slammed her book on the table with a pong sound, scaring the others as they all turned their heads to look. "I also have no other choice." Tang Zheng shrugged his shoulders, showing a helpless expression. Yi Dingdang hatefully glared at him as this was too infuriating. There was nothing more infuriating than this. Could it be that she was going to be suppressed by him and never be able to turn over? Pay. What do you mean by being suppressed by him? What are you talking about? Takashi looked at the two of them from afar and said with joy, "He made Dingdang angry. Good. As long as Dingdang is angry, then his chances are small." This time he was hit by a car and recovered so quickly. The heavens really have no eyes. If only I was there at that time and crushed him a bit more, even if he didn't die, he would still be dead. Hey, since Dingdang is angry at him, then I should strike while the iron is hot and dig out his sinister and cunning side in one go. Then I will let Dingdang know his true colors. That way he will have no chance at all. Right, let's do it this way. Follow him after school, and he will definitely give himself away. At this time Feng Yong also walked in. Seeing Tang Zheng, he excitedly ran over and called out his boss. "Fatty, you really should lose some weight. Look at your fat jiggling." Tang Zheng gave him a punch as he jokingly said, "Hi hey, fat can take a beating." Feng Yong did not mind. Taking a beating is not good. A man should take the initiative to attack. Tang Zheng corrected him. "I don't know martial arts. If I was as strong as boss, then I would definitely take the initiative to attack." Feng Yong said with envy. Tang Zheng's heart moved and said, "Then I will find a set of martial arts for you to practice." Feng Yong was overjoyed and excitedly shouted, "Boss, you really are my good boss. My dearest boss. Don't be disgusting. Move to the side." Tang Zheng laughed and scolded. Yi Dingdang heard that he was going to give Feng Yong a set of martial arts as if he had too much martial arts to practice. Her heart twitched as it was simply dripping blood. The difference was too big, and there was no way to compare. Ding ding. A message suddenly sounded as Tang Zheng's phone received a message. "Tang Zheng, I will invite you to dinner tonight. Can you do me the honor? Cinder, Mu Hongyin." Chapter 125. Tang Zheng walked into the elegant and fresh restaurant and saw Mu Hongyin and her daughter from afar. Book group. Mu Hongyin was still mature and elegant while Nana was extremely cute. She was stretching her neck to look at the door. When she saw Tang Zheng, her eyes widened. She jumped down from the chair and ran towards him. Tang Zheng smiled as he squatted down, and Nan threw herself into his embrace, hugged his neck, and gave him a kiss. She giggled non-stop. "Big brother godly doctor, I knew you would come to see me. Nan is so happy." Tang Zheng smiled kindly. "I am also very happy to see Nana. Nana, come and sit down." Mu Hongyin waved her hand and nodded at Tang Zheng. "Brother godly doctor, can you carry me over?" The little girl looked forward to it. "It's my honor." Tang Zheng picked her up. Nana excitedly hugged his neck and said with satisfaction, "Brother godly doctor's arms are so comfortable." One big and one small walked to the front of the dining table. Mu Hongyin had already stood up with a smile. "Tang Zheng, please sit." Nan, come down quickly." "I'm not coming down. Nana has to stay in brother's arms for a while. Otherwise, there won't be a chance in the future." Nana hugged Tang Zheng even tighter. She was like a sloth hugging a big tree, never letting go. Tang Zheng said in surprise, "How can there not be a chance in the future?" Nana pouted and said faintly, Mom wants to bring Nana home. Nana won't be able to see Brother Godly Doctor. Mu Hongyan explained. We just came to ordinary balance temporarily. Since Nana has recovered and the family wants to see her very much, we will go back in a few days. Today is mainly to say goodbye. Tang Zheng suddenly realized. If you come to Dianan in the future, you must remember to tell me. I will do my best as a host. Mu Hongyan said sincerely. So you are from Dianan. If I go, I will contact you. Dianan is the southernmost province of the country. It is rich in resources and pleasant scenery. It has always been a place frequented by travelers. Brother Godly Doctor, then you promise to come to see me. Let's pinky swear. Nana stared with big black eyes and said seriously, well, I will definitely go see you. Pinky swear. Nanan will wait for you. When the time comes, I'll give you good food. My family has a lot of good food. Nanan said seriously. Haha, good. Nana is so obedient. Tang Zheng couldn't help but laugh. Mu Hongyan looked at the two people and said in her heart that it was really fate. Nana rarely stuck to a person like this. If only she stayed in ordinary balance for a while. But she can't stay long. She can't wait to find out who killed Nana. Nana's suffering over the years must be repaid to the other party. After all, ordinary balance is not her territory. It is not easy to investigate these things. Moreover, when she was pregnant, she was in a coma in Dianan. Then there will be more clues in her hometown. Mu Hongyan ordered a table full of delicious delicacies, and Nanan finally left Tang Zheng's embrace. She obediently sat to the side and ate, but from time to time she would turn her head to look at him, as if she was afraid that he would disappear in the blink of an eye. Senior Medicine King has already gone to the capital. I also heard about the matter between you and Old Man Yi, but I never thought that you would directly reject him. Mu Hongyan said in a low voice. Even after so many days had passed, she still couldn't hide her surprise. Tang Zheng shrugged. I have no deep hatred with him. It's just that as a superior, he is too arrogant. I don't like it. Mu Hongyan chuckled and said, Old Man Yi is a bit overbearing, but this is also the habit of people like him. You don't have to mind. In fact, I really want to thank you for everything you have done for Nana. If I hadn't met you, I can't imagine what would have happened. Tang Zheng picked up the napkin and carefully wiped the rice grains from Nana's mouth. Maybe this is the fate between Nana and me? Yes, fate is a wonderful thing. Mu Hongyan sighed and turned her head to look out the window, as if recalling something in the past. In the unseen world, everything has its own destiny. Ever since you left, I never thought that we would meet again in such a way. However, when Yi Dingdang came to my house to find the King of Medicine, she was really anxious. She anxiously dragged the King of Medicine to the hospital to treat you. I can see that she cares about you very much. Tang Zheng couldn't help but think of Yi Dingdang. This morning, he gave her a big blow. She didn't pay much attention to him the whole day. Even the intimate look between him and Fang Shishir didn't attract her attention. If it was in the past, he would definitely be ruthlessly ridiculed. She and I are friends. Tang Zheng seemed to be explaining to the other, and also seemed to be giving himself an accurate position in the bottom of his heart. Mu Hongyan smiled and said in her heart, are they really just friends? However, she didn't ask to the bottom of the matter. She only briefly mentioned it, and then changed to another topic. The two of them chatted happily. Although Mu Hongyan had a mature temperament, in fact, the two of them were only a few years apart, so they had a lot of common topics. Occasionally, Nan would interject a few words to better adjust the atmosphere, allowing this meal to end with laughter and laughter. It's already dark. I'll drive you home. Mu Hongyan pointed at the car not far away and said, no need. My house isn't very far away. It's only a few steps to walk back. Mu Hongyan didn't force her. Nana, quickly say goodbye to your brother. Brother Godly Doctor, goodbye. You must remember to come and see Nana. Nana will miss you. Nana hid in his arms again, reluctant to leave. Brother promised you, so I will definitely go. Tang Zheng put her down. Brother Godly Doctor, goodbye. Nana took her mother's hand and walked toward the car. Tang Zheng watched the two of them get on the car and start the car. Suddenly, his eyes were cold, staring at the car. It seemed that a black shadow appeared in the back seat of the car. Tang Zheng blinked to make sure that his eyes weren't playing tricks on him. There was indeed a black shadow in the back seat of the car, but it was dozens of meters away, so Tang Zheng couldn't see it clearly. Could it be their bodyguard? Tang Zheng knew that the mother and daughter were rich and noble. The last time they were shot, several cars suddenly jumped out and a group of people chased after the murderer. Could it be that this black shadow was the bodyguard who originally sat in the car? But how could the bodyguard sit in the back seat? In the movies, the bodyguard sat in the front seat and the employer sat in the back seat. Tang Zheng had an ominous premonition. He quickly called Mu Hongyan's cell phone, but no one answered. Seeing that the car was about to turn the corner and disappear, Tang Zheng no longer hesitated. Even if he made a mistake, he still wanted to catch up and take a look. But damn it, there was no taxi here. He looked around and suddenly found a bicycle parked nearby. It was locked with a big lock on the fire hydrant. He immediately used his power and violently pulled off the big lock. Next to him, there was a person who happened to pass by and was stunned to see this scene. Tang Zheng didn't care about shocking the world. He immediately rode the bicycle and quickly caught up. The speed of the car was neither fast nor slow. Tang Zheng followed behind from a distance. He subconsciously thought that something must have happened. Maybe they were hijacked. But in any case, he would never give up if he didn't catch up and take a look. Fortunately, the quality of the bicycle was not bad. Under his feet, the speed of the bicycle was raised little by little. He continuously overtook the other drivers, which made the other drivers dumbfounded. When did the speed of a bicycle become so overbearing? A moment later, Tang Zheng caught up with the car. There was indeed an extra person in the car. The other person was covered in black clothes, so he couldn't see the person's face. It was very strange. The driver was still Mu Hongyan. Her face was calm, neither surprised nor happy, as if there was nothing strange. Tang Zheng almost thought that he was too nervous and made a fuss. But suddenly, he felt that Mu Hongyan's calm face was a little strange. It could even be said that she was stiff. She looked straight ahead and just drove in a daze, like a marionette. Yes, a marionette. This was the feeling. Tang Zheng was shocked. The bicycle quickly passed the front of the car and stopped in front of it. Tang Zheng supported himself with one foot and shouted, "Stop the car!" The speed of the car didn't slow down. From afar, he could clearly see Mu Hongyan's face. She obviously saw him, but she was indifferent. Nana also saw him, but she still acted as if she didn't know him. No, she treated everything in front of her as air and quickly crashed into it. Screams came one after another. The pedestrians looked at this scene that was tantamount to suicide. Seeing that a car accident was about to happen, many people subconsciously covered their eyes. Bang! With a loud sound, the bicycle was hit and flew into the sky. A person also flew high, but he didn't fall to the ground. Instead, like a rock spreading its wings, he stretched out his four limbs and flew to the roof of the car and stuck to it. Unbelievable. Was this a movie? Before anyone had time to react, the car suddenly sped up and disappeared from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. It was as if nothing had happened, but the bicycle that had been smashed into pieces quietly reminded everyone that everything that had happened was real. Tang Zheng lay on the roof of the car. He violently slapped the roof of the car and shouted for it to stop, but no one responded. The atmosphere was very strange. The car was as fast as lightning and finally turned into a dark alley. Screech. The brakes were slammed and the tires screeched against the ground. Tang Zheng was thrown out because of inertia. Seeing that he was about to hit the ground, he pushed his palm against the ground and rolled in the air. He quietly landed and stared at the car that was close to him. The sound of the car engine disappeared and the two big lights were turned off. There was no sound in the alley, which was very strange. The lights in the car were also turned off. It was pitch black. Tang Zheng couldn't see the situation in the car, but he wouldn't wait for death. He shouted, "Come out!" His voice was like thunder, but there was still no sound from Mu Hongyan and her daughter. Tang Zheng was even more panicked. The appearance of the mother and daughter subconsciously appeared in his mind, especially Nana's lovable appearance. He made up his mind. I can't let anything happen to them. Chapter 126. The silent confrontation made Tang Jing very uneasy, worried that something bad would happen to Mu Hongyin and her daughter. Regardless of the danger, he vigilantly rushed over and quickly attacked the man in black in the back seat. Bang! With a muffled sound, the car door was kicked open from the inside by a strong force, fiercely crashing into Tang Jing. Tang Jing dodged, but in the blink of an eye, he found that the man in black was already standing in front of the car door. The other side was still shrouded in a black coat. His face could not be seen clearly, exuding a strange atmosphere. "Who are you?" Tang Jing vigilantly asked. "Why do you want to kidnap the mother and daughter? Who are you, daring to ruin my good thing? Are you not afraid of death?" The voice seemed a bit familiar, but Tang Jing could not remember where he heard it. "If I was afraid of death, I would not have chased after you. What did you do to them?" Tang Jing asked. The mother and daughter's sluggish appearance left a deep impression on him. "Of course, they fell into my bewitching spell." The man in black proudly laughed. "Bewitching spell? Boy, he is a devil." Tian Chanzi was shocked, quickly reminded, bewitching spell can control people's thoughts, making them do things according to the caster's thoughts, turning them into a puppet. "You are a devil?" Tang Jing was also very surprised. He only heard Tian Chanzi mention the devil when he was dispelling the evil energy from Nana, and also saw the other side's sinister curse technique, leaving a deep impression on him. "Hey, boy, you actually know about the devil. Are you also a cultivator?" The man in black seemed to be very surprised. Suddenly, he screamed, "I finally know who you are. It's you. It's you." Tang Jing also shouted in unison. No wonder the other side's voice was a bit familiar. Wasn't it the voice of the python that spoke the human language? "Haha, I really searched high and low only to find you without any effort. I said I would come to find you. The heavens are really helping me. I originally planned to deal with the mother and daughter before coming to find you, but I didn't expect you to take the initiative to deliver yourself to me. Haha, then I will deal with you together." The man in black arrogantly laughed. "I also want to find you. You actually dared to lay your hands on a baby in the womb. You are really worse than a beast." Tang Jing berated. It must be known that when the other party used the curse technique, Nan Nan was not even born yet. "Humph, my devil's way of doing things," the man in black discontented. The black-clothed man said with dissatisfaction, "But I am very curious why there are cultivators in Changheng City. You are the first foreign cultivator I have met. Interesting, interesting. Relax, I will not be in a hurry to kill you. I will slowly torture you and squeeze out all the secrets from your body. Killing me won't be that easy." Tang Jing was no longer the ignorant person of the past, so how could he be afraid of him? "Tian Chanzi, what is his cultivation?" "The same as you, 6th grade refining qi." Tang Jing let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, he had just increased his cultivation. Otherwise, he would not have been able to win against a 6th grade refining qi expert. But even if the two had the same cultivation, Tang Jing did not dare to lower his guard. After all, this was his first time facing a real cultivator. A cultivator and a martial artist were different. The threat they posed was also different. The man in black clearly did not put Tang Jing in his eyes. He jokingly said, "When you were able to break my curse technique, it was because the curse technique only contained a strand of my divine sense. Although I do not know how you hid your cultivation, but now that you are facing my real body, you can only die." The man in black was very arrogant. He considered everyone else beneath him. Then let's see who's the real deal. The killing intent in Tang Jing's heart also roared, and the two of them attacked at the same time. Their figures flashed as they exchanged blows. A black sword slid out from the man in black sleeve. With a flash of black light, it slashed towards Tang Jing. "Careful, this sword is a yellow-level magic weapon." Tian Chanzi cried out in alarm. "I never would have thought that he would actually have a magic weapon. I miscalculated." Tang Jing did not care about a magic weapon. His only thought was to kill the man in black. This kind of vicious person must be exterminated. It could also be considered as revenge for Nana. The night was like water. The black sword perfectly blended in with the darkness, matching the man in black's clothes, making him look like a ghost. Tang Jing used his bare hands. He directly used the heaven-flying immortal sword technique. Facing a normal martial artist, He could use the heaven-gathering hand, but facing a cultivator, he did not dare to be careless, so he used the most powerful heaven-flying immortal sword technique. Now he did not only know the first 15 moves. Ever since he reached the 6th grade refining chi, he comprehended 5 more moves. Now he can already use the first 20 moves of the first move. He only saw his fingers close together, like a long sword, piercing towards the man in black. Both of them used sword techniques, but the way they wielded their swords was completely different. Tang Zheng's sword technique was elegant and full of elegance, while the black-clothed man was gloomy and filled with death aura. Every slash of his sword was filled with dense yin qi. In an instant, the two of them had already exchanged over 10 moves. Their figures moved and flickered, and it was dazzling. But both of them were very orderly and didn't lose their bearings. Every single move they made was extremely dangerous. "Little brat, you must not be careless." Tian Chanzi reminded, of course, this is also a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Fighting with a cultivator and fighting with a martial artist are two different concepts. Pay attention to the different experience. Tang Zheng restrained his mind. He did not dare to breathe. The man in black's attacks were endless, especially that black sword. It had a kind of power that made him tremble in fear. The power of the magic weapon was obvious. Hey, this black sword is rich in yin qi. If you snatch it and use it as your weapon, it will definitely help you. What you lack the most right now is an offensive magic weapon. Tian Chanzi was like a bandit leader, coveting the black sword. The man in black did not know that his opponent was coveting his black sword, but from the series of attacks, he could see the clues. His opponent absolutely could not be underestimated, especially this exquisite sword technique. He was quite afraid. However, his eyes gradually lit up. Without a doubt, this sword technique was an extremely exquisite sword technique, and this was what he lacked the most. His sword techniques were all ordinary, and there was no way they could be compared to this set of exquisite sword techniques. I'm going to kill him and snatch this sword technique. This brat does not even have a magic weapon. He definitely does not have any background. Maybe he was lucky and coincidentally became a cultivator. This is really a good opportunity to kill and steal. I'm going to take advantage of it. The world of cultivators was actually a world where strength was respected. If one's strength was not strong enough, it was easy to be trampled under the feet of others. For mysterious techniques or magic weapons, killing and robbing was simply a common occurrence. Just like when Tian Chanzi and Enemo fought for the ancient clear heaven scroll, they did not hesitate to fight to the death. Of course, the man in black did not know that his magic weapon was also targeted by Tang Zheng. Otherwise, he would definitely fly into a rage. "Who are you? What kind of sword technique is this?" The man in black asked with interest. "Heaven-flying immortal." Tang Zheng already had the intention to kill, so he did not hesitate to tell the other the truth. The man in black's heart flashed a trace of doubt. He had never heard of this sword technique, but he had never heard of many sword techniques, so it was not strange. But from this name he could see that this sword technique was indeed not ordinary. Such an exquisite sword technique is simply a waste in your hands. Prepare to die. The man in black thrust his sword forward. The black sword emitted a black light. In an instant, the air seemed to be compressed to the extreme, quickly attacking Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng hurriedly went up to meet it. The black light made him feel threatened, but it also made him calmer. Magic weapons were indeed extraordinary. Pooh! Blood splattered. The black sword brushed past Tang Zheng's shoulder. Tang Zheng was injured. He was clearly at a disadvantage in this move. "Humph! I've played with you enough. Now I'll let you experience my true strength." As the voice fell, the black sword's light became increasingly hot. A cold aura instantly filled the small alley, and a cold wind blew. Tang Zheng had the 9 young saint body, so he did not feel anything strange. Instead, he felt very comfortable with this cold aura. With a leap, he pounced towards the black-clothed man. Seeing the black-clothed man raise his sword to stab at him, the black light from the sword instantly enveloped him. Countless gloomy and cold auras rushed into his 8 extraordinary meridians. A strange thought arose from the bottom of his heart, almost disturbing his mind. Careful, this black sword has the ability to disturb the mind. Tian Chanzi warned. "Kill." The man in black roared. shaking the hearts of people. The black sword pierced towards Tang Zheng's chest. Suddenly, the black light trembled, and a large python drilled out from the black sword, immediately coiling around Tang Zheng's head. One above and one below, they coordinated with each other, attacking fiercely. Seeing the snake head, Tang Zheng was startled, but he did not panic. He pointed his finger, and his sword broke through the air, chopping at the black sword, blocking it. But the python had already coiled around Tang Zheng's head, and a cold aura poured into his 8 meridians, causing him to shiver. This python was clearly not a physical object, but was condensed from some kind of energy, but its killing power was not inferior to a real python. In an instant, it coiled around Tang Zheng from top to bottom, turning him into a rice dumpling. Hey, I'll let you experience the power of my black monarch snake. The man in black proudly laughed. This black monarch snake was a soul that he had painstakingly killed and collected in the black sword. His arrogance was due to the black monarch snake. Although he was only a 6th grade refining chi, he had once relied on the black monarch snake to kill a 1st grade natal realm martial artist. From this, it could be seen that the black monarch snake was much more powerful than his low-level sword techniques, and was also his greatest reliance. Hey, but in the future, with this little brat's exquisite sword techniques, together with the black monarch snake, my strength will increase by leaps and bounds, and I will even be able to contend against Master. He faintly looked forward to it, and his killing intent surged as he roared, "Black monarch snake, kill him for me!" The black monarch snake let out a sharp hiss and opened its bloody mouth, causing a fishy smell to rush towards Tang Zheng. Its sharp fangs were clearly visible in the night, emitting an evil aura like that of a death god. It bit towards the top of Tang Zheng's head, as if it wanted to swallow him whole. Chapter 127. Seeing the bloody mouth coming down, Tang Zheng let out a loud roar, and his whole body ignited with purple flames. The black monarch snake's attack came to an abrupt halt, and it let out an ear-piercing hiss, as if it was angry, but also frightened. Look at the latest chapter bang. The sound of roasting meat was heard, and the black monarch snake's body emitted a burst of black smoke. Suddenly, as if it had seen its natural enemy, it let go of Tang Zheng and tried to escape back into the black sword. The black-robed man turned pale with fright. He had never seen such a strange thing. Seeing the black monarch snake fleeing in panic, he subconsciously retreated half a step, and then he saw an unforgettable scene. Tang Zheng's body was covered in flames, and he was like a fire god. His hands reached out and grabbed the black monarch snake's head, and immediately, the sound of roasting meat was heard again. The black monarch snake continued to roar as it continuously retreated, its large tail smashing into the ground, creating a deep trench, yet it was unable to escape from Tang Zheng's hands. Tang Zheng roared as he used all of his strength to open the black monarch snake's mouth and forcefully tore it apart. Puff! The black monarch snake split into two, turning into strands of black smoke. With a wave of his hand, Tang Zheng's flaming hands wrapped around the black smoke. The black smoke quickly entered his body, turning into purine energy that disappeared into his meridians. The black monarch snake was originally formed from the soul and was yin qi. Tang Zheng's body needed pure yin qi to balance, so he did not waste it and kept it for his own use. Of course, the black monarch snake's pure yin qi had a lot of impurities and could not be compared to the pure yin qi he absorbed from Fang Shishi's body, but it was still better than nothing. The black-robed man looked at Tang Zheng as if he had seen a ghost. The black monarch snake was his trump card, but it was killed by Tang Zheng just like that, and even absorbed. What kind of cultivation technique are you cultivating? The black-robed man asked in fear. You don't have the qualifications to know. Tang Zheng's killing intense sword, and the flames on his body disappeared, returning to his sea of consciousness. His clothes were not burned, because he had specially separated a part of his true chi to protect his clothes, otherwise, he would become naked. In fact, all of this was just a move he had suddenly thought of when he was about to fall apart. Who would have thought that a grade 1 true fire would be so awesome, to actually be able to kill the black monarch snake in an instant? How could a grade 1 true fire kill the black monarch snake? No, true fire is used to refine pills. How could it be used to attack? The black-robed man was still immersed in a huge shock. Even the current heaven monk was still immersed in shock. The old man who had lived for over 1,000 years also had the same doubts as the black-clothed man. In the cultivation world, no one had ever used true fire to attack. Instead, they used it for alchemy. It seemed that from the moment true fire was discovered, it had been labeled as an alchemy tool. Even if someone used a fire attribute attack, it would not be true fire. Instead, it would be using a magic treasure to transform one's own true chi into a fire attribute attack. In short, Tang Zhang had unintentionally subverted common sense. Only he, who had become a monk halfway through his life, and the heaven monk had not instilled any knowledge in him, would suddenly think of using the true fire to attack and even inexplicably succeed. At this moment, Tang Zhang's fighting spirit had risen to an unprecedented level. Staring at the black-robed man, his killing intent soared. Go die! Heaven flying immortal. This attack was condensed with his aura and that high fighting spirit, allowing him to instantly appear in front of the black-robed man. With a tap of his finger, Pu, the air seemed to ripple, and it was a level higher than his previous attack. The black-robed man subconsciously retreated. He was really frightened by the scene just now. Battered and exhausted, he raised his sword to block. However, Tang Zhang's figure flashed, cleverly avoiding the sword. His finger had already pointed at the black-robed man's chest. Poof! An arrow of blood shot out from his back. He looked at his chest in disbelief. There was a bloody hole in his chest. The true chi in Tang Zhang's finger was like a sharp sword, instantly tearing apart the black-robed man's flesh and piercing his heart. The black-robed man looked at Tang Zhang in horror. The vitality in his eyes was rapidly fading. He struggled to raise the black sword to counterattack. However, how could Tang Zhang give him the chance? He smoothly grabbed the black sword and placed it on the black-robed man's neck. You actually won. How is this possible? The first strange practitioner I met killed me. I refuse to accept this. A low growl came from his mouth. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Speak quickly. Who are you? Do you have any accomplices? Tang Zhang coldly asked. Accomplices? The black-robed man's voice suddenly rose a few octaves. You killed me and caused a great disaster. My master will avenge me. You're dead. You're about to die, and you still dare to threaten me. Even if you don't say, I have a way to find out. Tang Zhang immediately used the soul-searching technique. The black-robed man screamed, Soul-searching technique. You actually know the soul-searching technique. Who are you? Tang Zhang clearly felt that the black-robed man was resisting his soul-searching technique. However, this resistance was getting weaker and weaker. He wouldn't be able to hold on for long. At that time, he would be able to find out the secret in his mind. You want to know my secret? No way. Just wait for your death. My master will avenge me. The black-robed man's voice came to an abrupt end. His neck tilted, and he fell to the ground. He was dead. There was no way to use the soul-searching technique on a dead person. The black-robed man obviously knew this, so in the end, when he knew that he wouldn't live for long, he killed himself so that Tang Zhang wouldn't be able to pry into his secret. Tang Zhang looked at the corpse in surprise. He couldn't help but feel some regret. However, he also felt some fear. Especially, who was the master that the black-robed man mentioned? Even a disciple is so powerful. Then the master must not be weak. I am definitely not the opponent's match. This is really troublesome. He frowned, but he wasn't too afraid. He would deal with whatever came his way. At the very least, he couldn't be afraid before fighting. That wasn't his style. He squatted down and removed the hood on the black-robed man's head. He finally saw his true appearance. His appearance was very ferocious. An ordinary person would definitely have nightmares if they saw him. However, Tang Zhang didn't feel anything. He began to search the black-robed man's body, hoping to find some clues. After searching for a long time, he didn't find anything. Tang Zhang picked up the black sword and carefully examined it. The black sword was 30 centimeters long. No wonder it could be hidden in his sleeve. The body of the sword was completely black without any decorations. It looked ordinary and even a little ugly. He didn't expect it to be a magical treasure. Kid, in the future when you have this magical treasure, your strength will greatly increase when you use Heaven Flying Immortal. If you meet an expert, you won't be as passive as you are now. Tian Chanzi said happily. Tian Chanzi, don't be happy too early. If I assassinate him, his master and even his sect will definitely come. If it's just one person, then it's fine. But if it's a large group of people, I'm afraid I won't even know how I died. Tang Zheng said solemnly. Tian Chanzi laughed mischievously. What are you afraid of? Don't you have me? The sooner you find a carrier for me, the sooner I'll be reborn. I'll directly help you deal with those small fries. Tang Zheng's heart moved. Didn't he have Tian Chanzi as a helper? Indeed, he didn't have to worry too much. It seemed that the most important thing now was to find a carrier for Tian Chanzi. This demon is so poor that he doesn't even have a single valuable treasure on him. He can't be from a big sect, so you don't have to worry too much. Tian Chanzi comforted. Tang Jing nodded and walked towards the car without saying a word. He found that Mu Hongyan and Nana were still dumbstruck. They were staring ahead with their eyes wide open, as if they hadn't heard anything that was happening outside. How do I deal with this great hypnosis technique? Tang Zheng could only ask Tian Chanzi for help. The great hypnosis technique is a good technique, and it's the foundation of cultivating the puppet technique. However, this kid only knows a little bit. At most, he can control the thoughts of ordinary people. But if it's used for too long, it will indeed cause harm to the human body. Tian Chanzi showed off his professional knowledge. Tang Zheng hurriedly urged, since it will cause harm, don't keep me in suspense. Quickly tell me how to deal with it. Tian Chanzi didn't beat around the bush. He taught him how to deal with it. After a while, the mother and daughter returned to their senses as if they had just woken up from a dream. Tang Zheng, why are you in the car? Mu Hongyan was surprised to see Tang Zheng sitting in the backstage. Wow, brother godly doctor, I see you again. Are you reluctant to part with Nana? Nana quickly climbed to the back seat and leaned into his arms. She was very surprised. Let's get out of here first, Tang Zheng said without batting an eyelid. Mu Hongyan stared blankly as she had already heard some clues. She vigilantly looked around and saw the black-clothed man lying on the ground. She was frightened and almost screamed. But after all, she was a person who had seen big storms and big waves. She calmed down in an instant. Did something happen? Tang Zheng nodded and pointed to Nana and said, let's go first. We'll talk about it later. He didn't want Nana to see the black-clothed man's body. It would leave a psychological shadow on her. Mu Hongyan understood. She gratefully looked at Tang Zheng. Then she started the car and drove out of the alley. Only the black-clothed man's body was left lying quietly in the same place. Call someone to deal with it. Tang Zheng pointed to the alley and said. Mu Hongyan understood what he meant. She immediately called someone to deal with the body. Presumably, she would also start an investigation on the body. Nana didn't realize that she had just brushed shoulders with death. She hugged Tang Zheng's neck and said in a childish voice, Brother godly doctor, come back to my hometown with me. Nana will play with you every day. Tang Zheng stroked her smooth black hair like a big brother next door and said, I still have to go to school. Go to school? Nana tilted her head. Nana's body wasn't good before, so I never went to school. Now that Nana is better, can I also go to school? Mu Hongyan squeezed out a smile and said, Of course you can. When we go back, I'll arrange for you to go to school. You have to follow your brother's example and study hard. Do you understand? Nana nodded seriously. I'll follow brother godly doctor's example. I want to get a little red flower. I see other children getting a little red flower at school. Nana will definitely get a lot of little red flowers because Nana is the most obedient and the smartest. Tang Zheng couldn't help but hug her tighter. She was like a little angel. Tang Zheng would never allow anyone to hurt her. The three returned home and left Nana in the care of Mama Lu. Then, under her shocked eyes, Tang Zheng and Mu Hongyan entered the bedroom together. After her husband passed away, no man had ever entered her bedroom. Chapter 128. Mu Hongyin's bedroom has an indescribable fragrance that seems to make people's minds wander. But what caught Tang Zheng's attention the most was the words hanging on the wall. To be precise, there were only two large words. Under the heavens. Under the heavens. This was such a large word. If it was a man's room that hung these two words, he wouldn't be too shocked. At most, he would say that the owner had the world in his heart. But Mu Hongyin was a woman who didn't know martial arts, so these two words were particularly eye-catching. More importantly, it was hung in her bedroom as if it was constantly reminding her of it. Lying on the bed, he could clearly see this, and a majestic feeling hit him in the face. Tang Zheng didn't know how she fell asleep every night facing these two words. Mu Hongyin gestured for him to sit on the only chair, while she sat on the bed. Following his gaze, her expression did not change in the slightest as she calmly asked, "What do you think of these two words?" "The concept is too big." Tang Zheng spoke the truth. It was said that men had the world in their heart, swallowing mountains and rivers. But in today's peaceful times, how many men had this kind of heart and boldness? Even if Tang Zheng was a cultivator and not a mortal, he still didn't have this kind of thought. "I like it." Mu Hongyin looked at it with infatuation. "My late husband also liked it." At this moment, her temperament was completely different from usual. She lacked a trace of gentleness and motherly nature, but gained an indescribable feeling that seemed to perfectly blend with the two words. "He must have been a very amazing person." Tang Zheng sighed. Mu Hongyin didn't comment. A person dying is like a lamp being extinguished. Everything is gone with the wind. Tang Zheng was speechless. Mu Hongyin withdrew her gaze and looked at Tang Zheng. Her gaze became more dignified and sharp. "Can you tell me what exactly happened?" Tang Zheng then narrated the discovery of the clues, the pursuit of the car, and the final battle with the black-clothed men. However, he did not mention the battle between the demon race and the black monarch snake. After all, he was still unwilling to reveal his identity as a cultivator to the public. At most, he would give the other party the impression that he was a martial artist. "Why did Nan Nan and I lose consciousness? Just like you said, we were even at the mercy of the black-clothed man?" Mu Hongyin instantly grasped the crux of the matter. This was something that had never happened before, and it was too strange. Tang Zheng had already thought of an excuse. Maybe the other party used some kind of drug. "I'm not too sure." Mu Hongyin looked at Tang Zheng with a burning gaze. She didn't force him, but she seemed to want to get more information from his eyes. However, Tang Zheng's expression didn't change, and he didn't send out any additional information. "I suspect that this person is in cahoots with the people who harmed Nana. Maybe after they found out that Nana had recovered, they sent people to kill her again," Tang Zheng deliberately said. In fact, it wasn't considered misleading. They were in cahoots, but he concealed the matter of the demon race. Mu Hongyin nodded, agreeing with this statement. "I will investigate this matter and see if I can find any clues from the black-clothed men." "I hope so." Tang Zheng didn't have much hope. The black-clothed men were cultivators, so they would definitely be good at hiding their secrets. They would even protect their secrets with their lives. It would be too difficult for outsiders to find out their secrets. Mu Hongyin's expression clearly relaxed. "Tang Zheng, this time you saved us mother and daughter again. I don't know how to thank you." These were sincere words. This kind of life-saving grace was too difficult to repay. Tang Zheng smiled and said, "Nana calls me brother. Of course, I have to protect her. You don't have to mind." Mu Hongyin revealed a smile. "Nana is really lucky to have you as a brother. But we are going back to Dianan soon. I don't know when we will see each other again. I will find time to see Nana. Don't worry." "Well, then I look forward to your arrival." The two of them went out of the bedroom. Under Mama Lu's strange gaze, Tang Zheng said goodbye and left. Mu Hongyin stared at the door in a daze for a while before she came back to her senses. After that, Tang Zheng's days returned to normal. He went to school during the day and went on dates with Feng Shishir at night. Yi Dingdang was unhappy. Tang Zheng didn't care too much, but he got a set of martial arts from Tian Chanzi and taught it to Feng Yong. Tian Chanzi was not stingy with martial arts. It seemed that he didn't care much about these martial arts. However, Tang Zheng didn't notice that a strange gaze was staring at him from a distance, full of fear. For the past few days, Gao Daji could not bear to leave. Occasionally, he would mutter to himself, his eyes lifeless, monster, monster. Moreover, he deliberately avoided Tang Zheng. Whenever Tang Zheng's eyes inadvertently swept over him, he would immediately lower his head and shiver, as if he had seen something terrible. He had indeed seen something extremely terrifying. That night, he had clearly seen the scene of Tang Zheng chasing the car and fighting with the black-clothed man. In order to find something that could be used against Tang Zheng so that he could report it to Yi Dingdang, he secretly followed Tang Zheng. He saw him talking and laughing with a very beautiful woman in a restaurant. He was so excited that he thought that he had found something that could be used against Tang Zheng. He hurriedly took pictures and videos secretly, preparing to show them to Yi Dingdang to prove how fickle Tang Zheng was. Later, he saw Tang Zheng riding a bicycle and chasing a car. He was also safe and sound after being hit by a car. He recorded it all. He hoped that Tang Zheng would be hit by a car and die. When he saw the scene in the alley later, he was completely stunned. Although it was a little far away and the light in the alley was not very good, he still had a rough idea of what was going on. Moreover, he had recorded it. When he saw Tang Zheng fighting with a python, and his body was on fire, but he was safe and sound, he almost screamed. This was a fact that no ordinary person could accept. Monster. Takashi could only define Tang Zheng as a monster to explain these strange things. It turned out that his opponent was a monster. No wonder he couldn't win against him. This also explained why Qiao Fei was in a vegetative state. He felt a lingering fear. This monster had already surpassed the limits of human strength. All of his actions were pale and powerless. He was unable to harm the other in the slightest. On the contrary, if he had attracted Tang Zheng's attention, would he have been killed like the black-clothed man? Thinking of the man in black, he remembered that face. After Tang Zheng and Mu Hongyan left, Takashi boldly ran over to check the scene. When he saw the man in black's ferocious face, he was so scared that he fell to the ground. After a long time, he came back to his senses. He gathered his courage and searched the man in black's body, as if he wanted to figure out the other party's identity. But in the end, it was futile. He couldn't find anything. When he heard that someone was coming, he panicked and left the scene. After returning home, those terrifying scenes often appeared in his mind. He didn't even dare to look at the video. He casually threw it in a corner. He never wanted to see that scene again. But that night, he still had a dream. In the dream, Tang Zheng was like a man on fire trying to catch him. The man in black's ferocious face also appeared in his dream. That face seemed to be smiling at him. These days, he had nightmares about Tang Zheng and that ferocious face. In the end, that ferocious face appeared more frequently than Tang Zheng. It made his spirit become dispirited. He listlessly lay on the table, hiding from Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng didn't know that he had inadvertently frightened Takashi. He didn't have the mind to pay attention to Takashi. He was now worried about Tian Chanzi's carrier. The carrier was a dead person, but it couldn't be an ordinary dead person. If it was a person who died of old age, their body would be too weak and would be useless. But young people died in accidents. Their bodies weren't complete and couldn't be used. In the end, the two of them discussed for a long time and decided to go to the morgue. Maybe they could find a satisfactory one. Tonight was the trip to the morgue. After school, he said goodbye to Feng Shishir and walked to the hospital under the cover of the night. Most of the morgues in the hospital were in the basement. It was gloomy and horrible. For ordinary people, this was a place that they didn't want to set foot in. But for today's Tang Zheng, he didn't have such a big psychological barrier. He was still quite brave. Isn't it a joke if practitioners are afraid of ghosts? This was Tian Chanzi's original words. Tang Zheng was even more embarrassed to show fear. Otherwise, Tian Chanzi would definitely laugh at him. At night, there were fewer people in the hospital, so Tang Zheng quietly went to the basement. A gloomy aura hit him in the face, especially when he saw the words morgue not far away. It was as if it had a magical power that made people feel a deep sense of fear when they saw it, but they couldn't help but look over. The people on duty had already gone home. The basement was empty. Only the sound of Tang Zheng's footsteps echoed around. Listening to it gave people a creepy feeling. Tang Zheng pushed the door and entered. A gust of cold air hit him, and the temperature suddenly dropped a few degrees. He couldn't help but shiver. Suddenly, he felt a tremor on his back. He was shocked. There was no one around. What was trembling on his back? He wasn't scared at first, but in this environment, he was scared by the sudden movement and his nerves were tense. It was like watching a horror movie. You know it's fake, so you don't have to be scared. But when you combine it with the environment and the music, you can't help but feel scared. The environment can really affect people's senses. Tang Zheng slowly turned his head and opened his eyes wide. What was behind him? Was it a female ghost with a long tongue and disheveled hair? There was nothing. Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief, but his heart immediately tensed up as he felt the trembling on his back. Moreover, it was becoming clearer and clearer, so it was definitely not his imagination. F***CK. What's there to be scared of? I'm a practitioner. It's a joke to be scared of ghosts. Moreover, the guy in my head is also a ghost. Tang Zheng kept reminding himself that he was no longer as scared as before. He suddenly turned around, but the huge morgue was still empty. Not even a shadow could be seen. Are you kidding me? This ghost is too boring. Tang Zheng was inexplicably angry. He shouted, I don't care what kind of ghost you are. Get out of here, or I won't let you go. The tremor came again. This time it was more intense, as if something was going to rush out. Chapter 129. This time, Tang Zheng did not turn around. He reached behind him to grab whatever it was. No matter what he grabbed, he would not let it go. Amazed face, amazed face, he grabbed it. He grabbed the backpack on his back, and the trembling sensation came from inside. F***CK. So it's you. Tang Zheng could not help but curse. His heart was relieved. He quickly took off the bag and took out the culprit. Black sword. It was the treasure he took from the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man died, so the black sword became an ownerless item. He effortlessly dripped his blood on it. Now, he was the new owner of the black sword. He had studied the black sword before. Although it was not as mysterious as the 9 revolving alchemy furnace, it was exceptionally sharp. When he injected his qi, the black sword would emit light. A faint layer of black light would wrap around the sword, giving it a mysterious feeling. However, the black sword did not have the black monarch snake soul, so its power was not as strong as before. But Tang Zheng did not dislike it. After all, it was an offensive treasure. In battle, it could be used to protect his life. Why are you trembling? Tang Zheng fiercely slapped the black sword, almost scaring him to death. If he were to be scared to death by his own magical weapon, then he would become a laughing stock. 10. The black sword calmed down after being slapped by its owner. Tang Zheng held it in his hand. If he really encountered any ghosts, he would slash at them. Tang Zheng opened a freezer. The cold air hit his face. Inside the freezer was an old man's corpse. He shook his head and pushed it in again. Tang Zheng continued to open several freezers. If it was not an old man, then it was completely unrecognizable. He opened another one. Hey, this time it was a young man. Tian Chanzi, look. How is this? Tang Zheng excitedly shouted. Little brat, you are deliberately angering me. This is a female corpse. Do you want me to become a woman? Tian Chanzi said angrily. Tang Zheng laughed. A woman is not bad. Nowadays, there are so many men who specially go for surgery to become a woman. This is the original package. There is no need for surgery. Moreover, it is quite beautiful. You've lived for thousands of years, but you've never experienced the feeling of being a woman. Now that you have the chance, don't miss it. Brat, if you dare to speak again, be careful that I will beat you up when I am reborn. All right, I won't say any more. Let's keep looking. Tang Zheng started to search again, but it seemed that not many people had died in this hospital. After looking around, he did not find a suitable one. Tian Chanzi, don't be so picky. Just pick one. Choose my ass. If I don't find the right one, I will never move. I will always stay in your head. Also, the master of the man in black may come looking for you. I want to see how you deal with him by yourself. Tian Chanzi was exasperated. Tang Zheng had no choice but to promise to go to other hospitals. In the end, he spent a few hours and went to several hospitals in the city, but he still couldn't find the one that satisfied Tian Chanzi. Tang Zheng sat down on a chair and looked at the full freezer, saying, "You've finished looking, but you're not satisfied with any of them. How are you going to find another one? The physical fitness of modern people is too weak. Even if I attach my soul to it, the body can't take it. Instead, it will damage my soul. The loss outweighs the gain. I am not a casual person. I will not compromise," Tan Chanzi said sternly. "Then we can only come back after a while to see if there are any new deaths." Tang Zheng was helpless. Buzz. Suddenly, the black sword in his hand shook again. It hadn't stopped for a single moment tonight. Tang Zheng felt that it must be suffering from a fever. Why was it shaking? Whoosh! A cold wind blew. Tang Zheng's whole body shivered. "I've been infected by the black sword. Why am I shaking?" In these few hours, he had seen many different morgues. He didn't see a single ghost, so he became bolder. Was there an electric fan here? What was with this cold wind? He looked around. Whoosh! Every hair on his body stood on end. In the blink of an eye, the originally dead silent morgue had undergone earth-shattering changes. It was as lively as a market, with countless ghosts moving about. Damn! Tang Zheng was stunned. What was going on? How come there were so many ghosts in the blink of an eye? Heh, brat, are you afraid? Heaven Monk appeared again, taking pleasure in his misfortune. Tian Chanzi, what's going on? Look at the time. Tang Zheng hurriedly took out his phone. It was just past midnight. At midnight, the ghost gate opens. These ghosts are going to enter the ghost realm. Tian Chanzi proudly explained, between heaven and earth, there is not only the human world. There is also the ghost realm. It is the place where ghosts go after people die. Buzz buzz. Tang Zheng did not have time to sigh with emotion as the black sword began to tremble non-stop, as if it was very excited. Tang Zheng did not know what was going on, but at this moment, a cold wind blew and the ghosts scattered in all directions, revealing a large empty space. A ghost with a green face and fangs grabbed another ghost, opened its mouth, and bit off the ghost's head. It ate with relish. The other ghosts acted as if they had met their nemesis and ran far away, but there was only so much space, so how could they hide? While Tang Zheng was still in a daze, the green-faced and fanged ghost grabbed another ghost and began to eat heartily. Yes, it was like eating the most delicious meal. There was a satisfied expression on its ferocious face. Tian Chanzi, this ghost seems different. Of course it is different. This is no ordinary ghost. It is an evil spirit. This person must have been an evil person when he was alive. It only retains its cruel nature from when it was alive. It doesn't even have the instinct to be afraid. That's why it only knows how to attack until it disappears. Tian Chanzi explained, since it was an evil person when it was alive and an evil spirit after it died, this kind of evil thing cannot be left in this world. I'll make it disappear. Tang Zheng stood up straight. He held the black sword with one hand. Seeing that the evil spirit was already in front of him, he let out a low shout. The black sword blazed with a black light. Poochie. From top to bottom, the black sword directly chopped down on the evil spirit's head. It then chopped down all the way to the bottom. The evil spirit was split into two. It quickly turned into a ball of black energy. The black sword quickly absorbed it. It was like a whirlpool. Not a single trace of black energy escaped. Looks like there's only one evil spirit here. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind killing another one to give the black sword some nourishment. Tang Zheng looked around. All the ghosts were cowering and hiding in the corners. They seemed to think that he was an evil spirit, especially that black sword. It could absorb energy. Weren't they formed from energy? Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. Tang Zheng waved at them. It seemed that he wanted to find one or two to chat with. After all, this kind of experience was too special. It was rare for ordinary people to have this kind of experience. However, this idea was immediately ridiculed by Tian Chanzi. Ghosts were muddle-headed. They did not remember many things from their lives. Chatting with them was like playing the lute to a cow. Tang Zheng curled his lips. He could not help but regretfully dismiss this idea. However, the black sword was still very excited. It pointed the tip of its sword at the ghosts. It seemed to be saying, "Master, let me eat them." Tang Zhang sensed its intention. He impatiently patted the body of the sword. "Be honest. These ghosts are just ordinary ghosts. They're just like ordinary people. They're not evil spirits. What's the point of killing them? If you want to absorbing energy, I'll find you another evil spirit next time." The black sword had no choice but to submit to its master's despotic power. It did not dare to act rashly and quieted down. Tang Zheng looked around. He felt that there was no need to stay any longer. Just as he was about to leave, a cold wind suddenly blew. A loud roar sounded. "Stop! Who's there?" Chapter 130. This loud roar stopped Tang Zheng from taking a step forward. A gust of cold wind came from behind Tang Zheng, like the roar of the cold wind in a snowstorm. In a spurt of energy, it reached his back. "Please add, Schwa." His hair stood on end. His whole body shivered. Tang Zheng did not even think. He slashed out with his sword. In this environment, there was no need to worry about accidentally injuring others. The strong yin qi showed that the other party was not a living person. More importantly, this yin qi was much stronger than the evil spirit from before. He did not dare to be careless, so he made the first move at the same time. His body jumped to the side and turned around, immediately seeing the situation in front of him. Two guys with spears were staring at him, roaring. "Who are you? You dare to attack the ghost envoys? Do you not want to live anymore?" Tang Zheng carefully looked at the two. Their appearance was not much different from a human, but they were obviously not living people. Their whole body emitted a strong yin qi. Their faces were pale and lifeless. "Ghost envoys." Tang Zheng frowned as he stared at the other party. These two were actually ghost envoys, but he did not care who they were. He directly asked, "Why did you sneak attack me just now? You killed a ghost. Of course we ghost envoys want to capture you and punish you. Are you saying that I killed that evil spirit? He killed other ghosts, and he also attacked me. Of course I want to get rid of him. Evil spirit?" The other party looked at each other. Where did this evil spirit come from? There are a few missing ghosts here. Clearly you killed them. Daring to kill ghosts? You are going against the ghost realm? Do you know your crime? Tang Zheng could not help but roll his eyes. How could these two ghost envoys be so indignant? He pointed to the other ghosts and said, "Ask them, did the evil spirit eat them or did I kill them?" When the other ghosts saw the ghost envoys, they instinctively trembled. Their originally muddled state became even more chaotic. How could they say anything? "Since you do not know your crime, then we will take you to the ghost realm to punish you." The two ghost envoys said fiercely, "Little brat, don't let them take you to the ghost realm, then you will die." Tian Chanzi reminded, "Of course I know. These two messengers' cultivation levels are not high, but they are quite arrogant." Tang Zheng could already see that his opponent was only a 5th-grade qi refining cultivator, and the two weapons in his hands were definitely not magic artifacts. Heh, even ghost messengers are so shabby. I really didn't expect that. Tang Zheng thought of those myths and legends about how powerful ghost messengers were. It was all complete nonsense. What he didn't know was that messengers were extremely powerful to normal people, but to a cultivator like him, they were nothing special. His large hand directly grabbed the spear shaft, making them unable to move. If the ghost messengers did not let go, then they would definitely be cut by the black sword. Looking at the flickering black sword, they knew that the result would not be good. The ghost messengers made a prompt decision. They let go of the spear and somersaulted in the air, barely dodging the sword. Tang Zheng seized the opportunity to grab the spear in his hand and fiercely slammed it down. Bang! The floor cracked, stone fragments swirled in the air. The muffled sound made the two ghost messengers' heart tremble, their faces becoming increasingly ashen. The two ghost messengers did not have any weapons, so they were not Tang Zheng's opponent. They trembled with fear. "Who are you in the end? You dare to oppose my ghost realm?" Tang Zheng coldly snorted. "When did I ever want to oppose the ghost realm? It was clearly you who indiscriminately slandered me for killing the ghosts. In fact, All of this was done by that damned evil spirit. If you had arrived earlier, you would have seen me behead the evil spirit and protect these ghosts. Therefore, you inverted black and white, used the name of the ghost realm to threaten me, and even wanted to kill me. Tell me, what is the reason for all of this? Tang Zheng's voice was powerful and resonant. The two ghost messengers could not help but shrink their necks. However, the two did not compromise. Instead, they looked at each other, as if they were trying to encourage each other. No matter what you say, you must come with us to the ghost realm to explain this matter clearly. Haha, you want to take me to the ghost realm? Do you have the ability to do so? Tang Zheng jokingly laughed. The two ghost messengers showed an embarrassed expression and said, "You know you have made a big mistake, yet you still dare to laugh. Humph, it will be too late to cry when the time comes. You want to scare me with the name of the ghost realm? In your dreams." Tang Zheng was not afraid of them. Anyway, he had the initiative. What to do? He would have the final say. "You are a cultivator. What sect are you from?" Seeing that Tang Zheng was not listening to them, the other party changed the question. "No sect. You dare to play with us. You don't want to tell the truth, right? Well, I will go get help. Let's see if you will tell the truth." One of the ghost messengers took out a token and waved it. A black light flashed, and a door appeared. The ghost messengers lifted their legs and walked into the door. "Boy, that is the ghost gate. Quickly stop him. When he returns to the ghost realm, you won't be able to stop him. Then you will really make a big mistake." Tian Chanzi anxiously shouted. Whoosh! Tang Zheng rushed over like a gust of wind, but the other ghost messengers rushed towards him. It was obvious that they were trying to buy time for their companion. Tang Zheng was very anxious. Seeing that the ghost messengers were about to enter the ghost gate, he took a deep breath and threw the black sword. A sharp sound broke through the air, and the black sword flew towards the ghost messengers. The ghost messengers must have felt the killing intent behind them. They subconsciously turned their heads and saw that the black sword was already in front of them. It was too late to escape. Pooh! The black sword pierced through their chest. They fell to the ground in front of the ghost gate. They widened their eyes in disbelief. The ghost messengers who were always high and mighty died just like that. They died in the hands of a human. The token fell to the ground, and the ghost gate disappeared with a flash of black light. Tang Zheng breathed a sigh of relief. Since there was no report, this matter could be controlled. Moreover, from the moment he threw the sword, he knew that this matter could not be settled peacefully. The ghost messengers believed that he was the one who killed the ghost, so he could not deny it. He might as well go all the way and kill the ghost messengers. Anyway, killing one was killing, and killing two was also killing. At this moment, his body was emitting a strong killing intent. The ghost messengers saw it and hurriedly retreated. The death of their companion gave them a huge shock. This person was not afraid of the ghost messengers at all. If they stayed, they would die. They wanted to escape, but there was nowhere to go. Boy, your idea is right. The ghost realm is very powerful, and you are insignificant in front of them. You are not even a small shrimp. Therefore, killing the ghost messengers without letting them know is the best thing for you. Moreover, they were wrong before, so they deserve to die. Tian Chanzi comforted. He was worried that Tang Zheng would have a mental barrier. Tian Chanzi, don't worry. I am not a stubborn and inflexible person. Since they wanted to kill me before, of course I will not sit still and wait for death. Politeness demands reciprocity. Killing them is also a matter of course. Haha, you are a promising child. Tang Zheng walked step by step towards the ghost messengers. The ghost messengers retreated again and again until they were in the corner, retreating into the group of ghosts. Don't kill me. If you kill me, you will become an enemy of the ghost realm. You will die without a burial. The ghost messengers threatened. Hee hee, you are about to die, and you still dare to threaten me. You are amazing. Tang Zheng jokingly mocked. The ghost messengers rolled his eyes and suddenly gave in. No, I will explain to the superiors that this matter has nothing to do with you. Please let me go. Tang Zheng's mind moved, and there was a trace of hesitation. The ghost messengers sharply captured this. With both hands, they grabbed the ghosts beside them and threw them at Tang Zheng. while they flew towards the token on the ground. Tang Jing immediately saw through the ghost messenger's trick. The ghost messengers wanted to take advantage of the moment when he was distracted to grab the token, open the ghost gate, and return to the ghost realm. At that time, everything would be too late. Two ghosts flew towards Tang Jing. Tang Jing hurriedly dodged. He saw that the ghost messengers had already grabbed the token and was about to open the ghost gate. Tang Jing did not dare to hesitate. He threw out the spear that he had been holding in his hand. Poof! The spear penetrated the ghost messenger's body and firmly fixed him on the ground. Tian Chanzi also knew the seriousness of the matter, so he didn't force it. However, after absorbing so much yin qi, I can clearly feel some changes. What other places are rich in yin qi and have evil spirits? I want it to absorb enough yin qi so that it can quickly increase its strength. In the future, when I face that black-clothed man's master, I will have more ability to protect myself. Both of them agreed with his point of view. After a moment of silence, they said in unison, "Graveyard. It's best if it's an old graveyard, such as a place like the unmarked common graves. There are very few new ghosts in this kind of place. Reapers won't go to this kind of place, but it's easy to breed evil spirits. This is your chance," Tian Chanzi added. Tang Jing's eyes lit up. The black sword seemed to have sensed something and excitedly buzzed and vibrated. "I know that there's a unmarked common graves outside the city. It's said that it's an ancient battlefield. Many people died there. Once, a construction company took a fancy to that piece of land. As soon as the ground was broken, there were ghosts. In the end, a few people died, and no one dared to go there anymore." Tang Jing suddenly remembered this feng shui treasure land. There are definitely evil spirits in this kind of place. Prepare a little and go tomorrow night. You've caused such a big commotion tonight. It's better if you stop. Tang Jing laughed mischievously and agreed. However, he didn't get what he wanted the next day. As soon as he arrived at school, Lu Qingmei grabbed him and asked him to accompany her to a cocktail party after school. Tang Jing then remembered the agreement from a few days ago. He had no choice but to postpone the plan to go to the unmarked common graves. Yi Dingdang was in high spirits as both of her hands rested on the table, supporting her delicate and pretty face. When she saw Tang Jing enter, her eyes couldn't help but light up as a raging fighting spirit ignited within her. She had been depressed for the past few days. Tang Jing had given her a big blow, but Yi Dingdang wasn't an ordinary person. She quickly adjusted and turned the pressure into motivation. She was prepared to catch up to Tang Jing's cultivation and even surpass him. "Tang Jing, I want to challenge you." Yi Dingdang waved her fist and vowed. Tang Jing couldn't help but laugh. "Oh, you're that confident?" "Of course. Who do you think Yi Dingdang am? My dream is to become the strongest martial artist in the world. How could I be defeated by you? Don't try to shake my firm belief. It's all futile." Yi Dingdang chattered. "Haha, relax. I won't shake your belief. Good luck." Yi Dingdang's face flashed with suspicion. "Aren't you afraid that I'll catch up to you and surpass you? Then we'll talk about it when you catch up to me." Tang Jing's current cultivation speed was so fast that even he didn't dare to believe it. However, his confidence was also more than enough. He didn't care about Yi Dingdang's challenge at all. Seeing his fearless appearance, Yi Dingdang's eyes widened. She couldn't help but feel angry. Damn it, was there a need to play cards like this? He wasn't worried at all. However, her skills were inferior. If she were to lose her temper, it would make her seem even more useless. Thus, she said, "Do you dare to make a bet with me?" "Oh, how do you want to bet?" Tang Jing was interested. "If I surpass you, then you have to announce to the world that Tang Jing is not as good as Yi Dingdang." "Announce to the world? I'm afraid there won't be that many people paying attention to me," Tang Jing said with a smile. Yi Dingdang stubbornly said, "I don't care. In any case, you have to announce this to the world." "Okay, but what if you can't surpass me?" "I will definitely surpass you." "That won't do. Since it's a bet, you need to have a stake. Otherwise, if you can't surpass me and there's no stake, then wouldn't I lose a lot?" "I'll marry you." Yi Dingdang said without thinking in her anger. This voice wasn't soft. In the already quiet classroom, it was like a clap of thunder. It clearly entered the ears of many people. Everyone looked over and stared in disbelief. Yi Dingdang was going to marry Tang Zheng. This was too fast. A while ago, they were still talking about fiancé. Now, they were going to be promoted. Tang Zheng suddenly coughed. He was incomparably embarrassed. This Yi Dingdang really dared to say this. Yi Dingdang, you're going to marry my boyfriend? Fang Shishir had unknowingly walked in and heard Yi Dingdang's domineering declaration. However, she wasn't flustered and exasperated. Instead, she asked with interest. Yi Dingdang looked at Fang Shishir in astonishment. In fact, she also felt that the relationship between Fang Shishir and Tang Zheng was very subtle these past few days. Every look and action was filled with intimacy. I'm making a bet with him. How could Yi Dingdang lose in this kind of confrontation? Therefore, she wasn't afraid of being exposed and spoke bluntly. Fang Shishir glanced at Tang Zheng flirtatiously and said, "Then you won't have a chance." I also feel that way. Yi Dingdang proudly raised her neck, because my cultivation will definitely surpass his in the future. He can only admit defeat. Ah, you're betting on this? Fang Shishir was shocked. It was clear that she didn't hear the first part of the conversation and only heard Yi Dingdang's declaration. If it's not this, then what is it? Yi Dingdang was baffled. Fang Shishir's expression was a bit strange. She knew that Tang Zheng was a cultivator and his cultivation speed was so fast. She didn't think that Yi Dingdang had a chance of surpassing him. She couldn't help but feel a bit vexed. She leaned against Tang Zheng's ear and said, "You clearly know that you will win, so you deliberately made this bet with her, right?" Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He cried out, "How would I know that she would mention this bet?" "Humph," Fang Shishir tenderly snorted. "I want to see how you will solve this problem." Tang Zheng suddenly had a bright idea. She was just momentarily interested. Who knows, maybe she will forget about it in a few days. I don't believe it. However, I will surpass her in the future. Since she dares to steal my boyfriend in front of me, I will defeat her. Fang Shishir was full of fighting spirit. Tang Zheng bitterly looked at her. He didn't know why her fighting spirit was also aroused. He could only secretly sigh. This situation was too chaotic. Let me tell you a piece of good news. I am already a first-grade refining qi cultivator. Fang Shishir proudly said. Really? Tang Zheng stared at her. Sure enough, she was already a first-grade refining qi cultivator. It seems like Tian Chanzi's words were not false. After her transformation, her physique was really too good. Congratulations, you are too awesome. Tang Zheng was overjoyed. He couldn't help but kiss Fang Shishir. Wow! Exclamations sounded from all around. It must be known that everyone was silently watching this good show. Seeing Tang Zheng kiss Fang Shishir in front of Yi Dingdang, this was too explosive. Tang Zheng also realized the problem. He quickly let go of Fang Shishir. Her face was already as red as a ripe apple. She coquettishly glared at him. This beautiful appearance made everyone's heartbeat faster. They were simply envious and jealous of Tang Zheng. Even Feng Yong couldn't help but give Tang Zheng a thumbs up. Yi Dingdang also didn't think that Tang Zheng would be so bold. Seeing Fang Shishir's shy and proud expression, she fiercely glared at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng could only pretend that he didn't see anything. Fortunately, the teacher walked in and helped Tang Zheng out of his predicament. Everyone had no choice but to reluctantly turn their heads. This scene was simply too wonderful compared to class. Tang Zheng also angrily sat down. Yi Dingdang said in a low voice, "You did it on purpose, right?" "Hey, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it," Tang Zheng said in an embarrassed tone. Yi Dingdang thought of the decision she made some time ago. She suddenly felt a bit wronged. She was willing to make the act real, but he kissed Fang Shishir in front of so many people. He was too hateful. I will definitely beat him. Yi Dingdang's thoughts suddenly changed. She decided not to think about the decision she made a while ago. A woman's heart was like a needle at the bottom of the sea. This change was so fast that it made people dumbfounded. Chapter 132. Tang Zheng looked at himself in the mirror. He was wearing a casual suit that accentuated his sturdy figure. He looked less childish and more mature. He looked exactly like a handsome guy. This was the result of him being dragged to the mall by Lu Qingmei after school. For tonight's ball, Lu Qingmei wanted to dress him up. Tang Zheng did not know that the ball would be so troublesome, but he could not change her mind, so he could only let her do as she pleased. Lu Qingmei's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. This brat's dress-up really has some flavor. No wonder Fang Shishir and Yi Dingdang were fighting over him. Miss, your boyfriend is really handsome. This dress is especially suitable for him. The sales assistant praised. Boyfriend? Tang Zheng opened his eyes wide and looked at Lu Qingmei strangely. He was afraid that she would get angry, but she did not comment. It's really not bad. Then I'll take this. Suddenly, Tang Zheng changed from inside out. Oh, other than his underwear, he changed into all his other clothes and shoes. This was the first time Tang Zheng dressed up like this. In the past, he did not have that much money to dress up. He could not help but feel a bit of novelty and looked at himself in the mirror. Hey, clothes make the man, Buddha makes the gold. This sentence was not wrong. His current temperament was very different from that of a high school student. It was very difficult to associate him with a high school student. Especially when he wore this set of clothes, he would definitely be regarded as a successful young talent by others. Bill. Lu Qingmei took out her credit card and did not hesitate. Teacher Lu, this set of clothes is very expensive. Tang Zheng secretly glanced at the price tag and was secretly speechless. She did not even blink when it was a few thousand yuan worth of clothes. Tang Zheng used to only wear clothes that were a few dozen or 100 yuan. He had never worn such high-quality clothes before. Even if he had a few 100,000 yuan in savings, he did not think about spending money in this area. Lu Qingmei coldly glanced at him. I'm the one paying the bill, not you. What are you afraid of? Tang Zheng simply shut up and didn't say anything. He could only carry the clothes he had changed out of and return to the mini car. Be alert later. Don't give yourself away, Lu Qingmei instructed as she drove. What do you mean? Today, you will pretend to be my boyfriend and accompany me to the ball. Later, those people won't be as simple as that salesperson. They are all shrewd people. If you don't pay attention, they will see through you. Lu Qingmei said. Pretend to be her boyfriend? Tang Zheng was shocked. He never thought that he would be asked to be her fake boyfriend. Am I really that much like a firefighter? Not only Yi Dingdang, but now even Lu Qingmei was involved. He felt the need to make things clear. Teacher Lu, I am only your student. Moreover, with such a big gap between us, no one would believe that I am your boyfriend. She raised her eyebrows and glared at him. Are you saying that I am very old so we don't match? To say that a woman was old was the same as seeking death. Tang Zheng understood this point, so he hurriedly waved his hands. That's not what I meant. Teacher Lu is very young and is about the same age as the girls in my class. What I meant was that I am only a student, so I can't act as a boyfriend. Can't act? I don't think so. Aren't you like a fish in water between Fang Shishir and Yi Dingdang? Aren't you enjoying life on both sides? I think you have a lot of experience. Lu Qingmei said sarcastically. Tang Zheng embarrassedly said, Teacher Lu, you can't wrongly accuse me. Hong, I don't care about your business. But tonight you must act well. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Lu Qingmei threatened. Tang Zheng inwardly sighed as there was nothing he could do. Who told her to be a teacher? Who told her to have a handle on him? Then he could only continue on the path of being a fake boyfriend and walk further and further down it. The car stopped in front of a 5-star hotel. After getting off, Lu Qingmei intimately held onto Tang Zheng's arm. Tang Zheng's body couldn't help but stiffen. Relax. Don't be so stiff. It's not like anyone will eat you. Lu Qingmei warned in a low voice. Tang Zheng took a deep breath. Since he was already here, he might as well take things as they came. Tang Zheng adjusted very quickly and immediately got rid of the stiffness. He held his head high and puffed out his chest as he walked with her to the door. Qingmei, you came. A person walked out from the door with a kind tone. But when he saw this scene, his face immediately stiffened with disbelief. This person was of course Song Donghua. When he first saw Tang Zheng spend the night at Lu Qingmei's house, he was furious and prepared to deal with Tang Zheng. But he had been so busy that he didn't have the time to deal with Tang Zheng. Of course, he didn't give up on his attacks on Lu Qingmei. Instead, he became even fiercer. Lu Qingmei was annoyed beyond words, but he was like a dog's skin plaster, causing her to be unable to do anything. This dance party was also invited by him. Originally, she wanted to refuse, but after Ordinary Balance City's mayor personally came forward to invite her, she couldn't refuse. This mayor was an old subordinate of Lu Qingmei's father and was someone she was familiar with. She couldn't refuse, but she also knew that Song Donghua would definitely pester her. Thus, she simply pulled Tang Zheng over to pretend to be her boyfriend and fend off this annoying fly. Speaking of which, Lu Qingmei didn't have many friends in Ordinary Balance City, let alone friends of the opposite sex. Thus, only Tang Zheng was the most suitable candidate. Lu Qingmei expressionlessly nodded her head and pulled Tang Zheng inside. Song Donghua saw the two's intimate actions and was furious. But he didn't act out. Instead, he still had a faint smile on his face as he followed them. Mayor Jiang is waiting for you over there. I'll bring you over. No need. We'll go by ourselves. Lu Qingmei refused and walked with Tang Zheng towards Ordinary Balance City's mayor, Zhang Yongda. Zhang Yongda saw the two of them and walked over to greet them from afar. Qingmei, I didn't even know that the old leader's daughter was in my district. His tone was familiar, and it was clear that he was an old acquaintance. Lu Qingmei was still cold as she said, Uncle Jiang, you are busy with work, and it is inconvenient for me to disturb you. Moreover, I like peace and quiet. Towards her coldness, Zhang Yongda didn't mind as he knew that her temper was like this. Even if I am busy with work, I will still push off work to meet you. You don't know how much the old leader misses you. Zhang Yongda said with a smile. Zhang Yongda was undoubtedly the center of attention as many pairs of eyes looked at him. Seeing that he was so passionate towards such a beautiful girl, they all started to guess Lu Qingmei's identity. Even Tang Zheng received some attention, but he did not feel uncomfortable. Instead, he looked at the ball with a bit of novelty. Each and every one of them was dressed in suits and leather shoes, looking like successful people. They held high wine glasses and gathered in twos and threes, whispering to each other. This gentleman is? Zhang Yongda's gaze fell on Tang Zheng's body, and his face was filled with suspicion. My boyfriend, Tang Zheng. Lu Qingmei hugged Tang Zheng even tighter as he could clearly feel the soul-stirring elasticity of her chest. Zhang Yongda's eyes flashed with a trace of astonishment as he inadvertently glanced at Song Donghua. Song Donghua awkwardly lowered his head, but as a government official, especially someone of Zhang Yongda's level, he naturally wouldn't easily reveal his true feelings. He passionately said, Mr. Tang, it is a pleasure to meet you. I am Zhang Yongda. As he spoke, he took the initiative to extend his hand. He wasn't clear on Tang Zheng's background, but since he was Lu Qingmei's boyfriend, he would naturally take the initiative to show his enthusiasm. Tang Zheng didn't hesitate and lightly shook hands with him. He didn't feel uncomfortable at all and didn't bow and scrape like a normal person would when meeting an official. What a joke. He was a cultivator, so how could he bow and scrape to an official? Otherwise, he would definitely be despised to death by Tian Chanzi. Lu Qingmei looked at Tang Zheng in astonishment, as his temperament was completely different from that of a student. She thought that he would be exposed, but she didn't think that he would perform so well. Even Zhang Yongda was guessing at Tang Zheng's background and thought that he was some young master. Only Song Donghua knew of Tang Zheng's identity and couldn't help but secretly despise him. Acting, let's see how you will act later. A toad will never be able to stand on the stage. Uncle Jiang, you go ahead and do what you need to do. We will go over there. Lu Qingmei knew when to stop as she didn't want to be the center of attention and was deeply afraid that Tang Zheng would reveal a flaw. Zhang Yongda smiled reservedly as he nodded, and then gave Song Donghua a meaningful glance. Song Donghua understood and walked over to his side. Who is that Tang Zheng? Zhang Yongda asked in a deep voice. Song Donghua suppressed the anger in his heart and said, He is her student. Student? Doesn't she teach high school? Yes, that little brat is a high school student, and is also an orphan who was raised by an old man who picked up junk. Even the shrewd Zhang Yongda couldn't hide his surprise as he looked at Tang Zheng from afar, and found it hard to connect him with the information that Song Donghua had said. That little brat only knows how to act and isn't any great person. Song Donghua continued to slander him. Zhang Yongda looked at his secretary meaningfully and said, Donghua, why are you so impatient in front of a high school student? What is Qingmei's status? How could she be together with a high school student? Maybe she is purposely testing you. Song Donghua was speechless as he couldn't say that he personally saw Tang Jing spend the night at Lu Qingmei's house. Zhang Yongda patted his shoulder and said, Perform well tonight and let Qingmei have a more comprehensive and deeper understanding of you. I still think highly of you. Next time when I visit the old leader, I'll bring you with me. Song Donghua felt a burst of excitement. That's right. If he couldn't handle Lu Qingmei, then he could start from her family. As long as he could handle her father, then wouldn't he be able to win her over? Song Donghua seemed to have awoken from a dream as he shed tears of gratitude. Thank you, boss. Tang Zheng and Lu Qingmei went to a corner where many people tried to strike up a conversation with her. It could be said that she was the prettiest girl in the entire ball, but Lu Qingmei was like an iceberg and didn't care about her at all. This made these successful people feel helpless as they couldn't help but look at Tang Jing a few more times. What kind of ability did this little brat have to be able to make such a beauty so dead set on him? The gentle music disappeared as Zhang Yongda walked up to the stage and gave an impassioned speech. It turned out that this was a ball to attract investors, and the people attending were all successful people from all walks of life. Tang Zheng and Lu Qingmei didn't have the heart to pay attention to these loud speeches as they focused on tasting the red wine in their glasses. Lu Qingmei even warned Tang Zheng not to drink too much due to his young age. After the speech, the music started again and the ball began. Many people pulled their partners onto the dance floor. Song Donghua directly walked over and politely said, Qingmei, may I have the honor of inviting you for the first dance? No. Lu Qingmei mercilessly refused and pulled Tang Zheng towards the dance floor. Tang Zheng was shocked as he didn't know how to dance. Chapter 133. Tang Zheng was forced onto the dance floor like a duck on a perch, leaving behind Song Donghua, who awkwardly maintained his gentlemanly bent posture, causing others to point at him. Book Friends Group. Song Donghua's face turned the color of a pig's liver as his eyes burned with rage. Lu Qingmei was clearly deliberately humiliating him. Lu Qingmei did not think of humiliating anyone as she was not that bored. She simply ignored him and did not even consider the fact that Tang Zheng did not know how to dance. Hey, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and hug my waist. The two stood on the dance floor as Lu Qingmei urged him. Oh, Tang Zheng subconsciously hugged her waist and used some strength, causing her to tightly stick to his body, causing her chest to change shape. She almost cried out in alarm and angrily said, Tang Zheng, what are you doing? She thought that he was deliberately taking advantage of her as he had a criminal record. Tang Zheng innocently said, Didn't you want me to hug your waist? There's no need to hug so tightly. Don't tell me you don't know how to waltz. Don't talk about waltz. I don't even know how to dance. Tang Zheng was a child from a poor family, so how could he know how to dance? Lu Qingmei could not help but roll her eyes. She had thought of every possibility, but she had overlooked this point. But they had already entered the dance floor, and Song Donghua was like a tiger watching its prey. She could not just leave. I'll teach you, and you have to follow my steps. Lu Qingmei imperceptibly taught Tang Zheng the proper posture, and simply explained the rhythm of the steps, and then began to move along with the music. The two were mixed in the crowd and were not too eye-catching. Tang Zheng carefully danced to her rhythm. The two were very close to each other, and he could clearly smell the faint fragrance coming from her body. She was wearing a long dress that looked a bit like an evening gown. It was inevitable that the opening of her chest was a bit low. Tang Zheng's 1.75 height was taller than her, so when he lowered his head he could see a patch of snow white. There was also a black lace brassiere. The contrast of black and white created a strong visual impact. Tang Zheng couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. This scenery was too alluring. Lu Qingmei noticed his actions. She raised her eyebrows and said coldly, Where are you looking at? Tang Zheng panicked and his footsteps became disorderly. Ouch! Lu Qingmei cried out in pain as Tang Zheng stepped on her foot. You did it on purpose, didn't you? No, I don't know how to dance, Tang Zheng argued. Lu Qingmei glared at him. She couldn't help but regret her rashness. She shouldn't have pulled him onto the dance floor. Now she was the one who suffered. Ouch! She was stepped on again. Tang Zheng said awkwardly, I didn't do it on purpose. Lu Qingmei's eyes burned with anger as she snorted coldly. Ouch! Another person cried out. This time it wasn't Lu Qingmei but Tang Zheng. She deliberately stepped on Tang Zheng's foot with her high heels. You're the one who did it on purpose, right? Tang Zheng said angrily. Lu Qingmei's eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness as she said, It's clearly you who messed up my pace. It's not my fault. Tang Zheng was speechless. He was too lazy to argue with her. He only hoped that the song would end soon. However, the heavens didn't let him. Lu Qingmei's beauty was still too dazzling. Many of the so-called successful people on the dance floor were secretly glancing at her. There were even some people who gradually moved to her side as she danced. Tang Zheng's eyes were sharp and his ears were alert. How could he not see this group of successful perverts? He saw that a fat, middle-aged man had already reached her and was purposely using his back to rub against her. After all, Lu Qingmei was his teacher, and now she was also his dance partner, so how could he let others take advantage of her? Therefore, the hand that was resting on her waist slid down to her buttocks. Even through the thin skirt, he could still feel the soul-stirring elasticity. What are you doing? Lu Qingmei turned pale with fright. This brat's character never changed. He actually still wanted to take advantage of her. Hurry up and move your hands away. Otherwise, I'll really get angry. She was his teacher, but she was taken advantage of by him again and again in front of so many people. How could she not be angry? But Tang Zheng said seriously, Stop messing around. You still dare to tell me to stop messing around? Is it reasonable for you to take advantage of me? Lu Qingmei felt like she was going crazy. Before she could reprimand him, she heard a scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. It drowned out the sound of the music. This sound was of course made by the fat man. Tang Zheng pointed his finger and a stream of qi hit the other person's butt. It would be strange if he didn't scream. Everyone stopped and their eyes were immediately drawn over. They saw that person's face was red from the pain, and it seemed like he was about to cry. The others didn't know what was going on, but Lu Qingmei suddenly realized. Especially when she saw Tang Zheng's evil smile, she knew that he was the one who did it. What did you just do? He wanted to take advantage of you. I taught him a lesson, Tang Zheng said with an evil smile. Lu Qingmei realized that she had wronged him. His hand slid to her, but to protect her. She couldn't help but feel a bit ashamed. Tang Zheng, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. It's okay. It's not the first time you misunderstood me. Tang Zheng said generously. Then can you take your hand away? Tang Zheng reluctantly let go of his hand. That feeling was really good. Lu Qingmei turned around and stared at the battered and exhausted successful person. That person did not dare to look at her and hurriedly squeezed out of the crowd. Disgusting! Lu Qingmei coldly said, Tang Zheng, let's go. Tang Zheng resentfully let go of his hand and the two walked towards Jiang Yongda. Uncle Jiang, I still have some things to do so I'll leave first. Jiang Yongda didn't force them. Okay, I'll come see you next time. Song Donghua watched the two leave. He stood to the side with a gloomy face and didn't say a word. Jiang Yongda glanced at him, patted his shoulder and said, Haste makes waste. Song Donghua didn't listen to what Jiang Yongda said, but he was unwilling to lose to a high school student. He had to take some measures. He quietly walked to a remote corner and dialed a number. Hello, hoodlum, help me do something. Tang Zheng sat in Lu Qingmei's car. She was still indignant that she had almost been taken advantage of. She swore that she would never go to this kind of messy dance party again. Where are you going? She glanced at the calm Tang Zheng and asked. Home. Shangfeng Shishui? Lu Qingmei probed. Yes. You moved to Shangfeng Shishui so quickly? Lu Qingmei was astonished. Is there a problem? Lu Qingmei curled her lips in disdain. Today's mission is complete. Teacher Lu, don't make me come to this kind of place again. It's so fake and boring. Lu Qingmei sighed. That's right. It's not interesting at all. If it's not interesting, then why did you come? There's no other way. Moreover, you also saw Song Donghwa's tail. It's too annoying. Maybe after today he saw that you are my boyfriend, he will stop a bit. Tang Zheng shrugged his shoulders disapprovingly. I don't think so. He knows my identity, so he must have guessed that this is a fake show. Then what should we do? How would I know? I'm not a relationship expert. Lu Qingmei looked at him and said, if you are not a relationship expert when you are between two girls, then who would dare to call themselves a relationship expert? Tang Zheng was too lazy to explain, so he simply stopped talking. Seeing that they had arrived at Shangfeng Shishui, he picked up his bag and jumped off the car. After school the next day, he ate dinner with Fang Shishu and strolled for a while before returning home. Now that her parents did not object, the two of them had more freedom. However, Fang Shishu was a good child who loved to study, so she only used her free time to relax her mind. The two of them did not have any intimate actions at school. After all, the kiss that day was purely an accident and caused quite a stir. As Tang Zheng walked around the school, he saw many people pointing at him. If it wasn't for the rumor that he was hard to beat, then there would have been people who would have gone to beat him up. Currently, Tang Zheng was a special existence in the school. He was ranked last in the entire school, but he managed to catch up to the school belle, Fang Shishu. Moreover, he also maintained an ambiguous relationship with the other school belle, Yi Dingdang. He was simply a love saint and of course also a public enemy. However, not only the boys, but even the girls did not give him a good face. After all, having a foot in two boats was not something that girls liked. After sending Fang Shishu home and checking on her practice, Tang Zheng decided to give her a spirit-gathering pill in a few days to improve her cultivation. Her foundation had already been consolidated, and the next step was to raise it. However, she only had cultivation, but not martial arts. This was Tian Chanzi's decision. He was not prepared to let her learn martial arts, but rather wait until he was reborn to teach her magic. At around 10 o'clock, Tang Zheng confirmed that his grandfather had fallen asleep. He then quietly left the house and went straight to the unmarked graves outside the city. He did not notice that there was a van following him from a distance and quietly came to the outskirts of the city. Ordinary Balanced City's development in the southern part of the city was very good and was rapidly expanding into the suburbs. However, the demolition of the old city in the northern part of the city was too difficult and had been delayed. Moreover, there was no expansion to the north because it would inevitably cross the unmarked graves. Almost all the businessmen knew that it was a haunted place. Even though the government had lowered the price of the land to a very low level, no one was interested in it. With the bloody lessons of the predecessors, no one dared to provoke those filthy things for a few dollars. In front of life, money was secondary. However, Tang Zheng was not afraid of those filthy things. On the contrary, he liked it very much because the Black Sword liked it very much. He ran all the way. The Black Sword seemed to feel that it was about to have a full meal and excitedly buzzed nonstop. Tonight, dark clouds covered the sky, and there was not even a trace of moonlight or starlight. Tang Zheng held a flashlight as he moved forward. After half an hour, he saw his destination. It was an abandoned construction site with overgrown weeds. He could vaguely see some reinforced concrete, but it was covered in a thick layer of moss. Tang Zheng could imagine the frustration of the developer who wanted to show off his skills here but had to retreat in the end. These 2 days, Tang Zheng specially asked around and found out that the developer died not long after bleeding from his 7 orifices. Even the doctors could not find the cause of his death. Many people said that it was a ghost that came to take his life. Tang Zheng took deep and shallow steps and walked towards the center of the construction site with the help of the flashlight. It was almost midnight. Chapter 134. At midnight, the world was dead silent. 6 people came down from a van with a rustling sound. The leader was a man with a scar on his face. He looked extremely fierce. The other 5 people were not kind people either. They all looked ferocious. Brother Ba, are we still chasing after them? That's the unmarked common graves. One of the lackeys trembled as he looked in the direction that Tang Zheng had left. The others also had fearful looks on their faces. The name of the unmarked common graves was simply too resounding. How could they not be afraid? Scarface scolded fiercely. F***CK. What are you afraid of? We have so many people. Even if it's a ghost, I'm going to catch it alive. I've been catching people for so many years, but I've never caught a ghost. When they heard this, their courage grew a lot. They were deeply afraid that if they showed their cowardice in front of their brothers, they would definitely be laughed at to death in the future. Okay, we'll listen to Brother Ba. Let's go in and get rid of that brat. This is the wilderness, and it's an unmarked graveyard. It's a good opportunity to get rid of the corpse. Even if someone saw it, they would definitely think that it was done by a ghost. The lackey agreed. Scarface licked his lips and praised. Not bad. He's got some brains. This brat didn't go anywhere else, but specifically came here. He's simply courting death. If you do what Brother Fei told you to do well, you'll be heavily rewarded. Understand? I know. Yin asterisk, let's go. Hurry up and go in. Don't let that brat escape. Several people walked towards the center of the abandoned construction site with weapons, such as clubs and machetes. The flashlight in Tang Zheng's hand was like a beacon, guiding the six of them. They were worried that they would be discovered, so they didn't use the flashlight at all. Instead, they just followed in the dark. Step by step, they gradually approached Tangzheng. They saw Tangzheng standing on a wasteland. This wasteland was very different from the other places. While other places were overgrown with weeds, this wasteland was bare and the surface was pitch black, as if ink had been broken. They didn't notice the strangeness of this wasteland and rushed out excitedly. The sound of their footsteps finally attracted Tangzheng's attention. A beam of flashlight shone on them, and they were immediately exposed. They didn't hide anymore and swaggered towards Tangzheng. Tangzheng was originally waiting for the evil spirits when he suddenly heard the rustling behind him. He thought that the evil spirits had come out, but he was puzzled. Wasn't there still some time before 12 o'clock? This group of evil spirits came out too early. Gripping the black sword in his hand, he turned around and slashed backward, only to find that it was not an evil spirit under the light, but 6 large living people with weapons in their hands. Who are you people? Tangzheng asked. Was this a robbery? This group of people was really bold to come here and rob. Scarface took a step forward and used his hand to block the glaring light. He fiercely said, "Brat, you've got guts. You actually didn't run when you saw us." "Why should I run? I think you should be the ones running. There will soon be a ghost here. If you don't run, then it will be too late," Tangzheng kindly advised. When they heard the word ghost, they couldn't help but tremble. They looked around as if they were really afraid that a ghost would crawl out from the darkness. But Scarface was very bold and laughed. "This father isn't afraid of people. Why should I be afraid of ghosts?" Indeed, many times people were stronger than ghosts. It seems that Scarface also understood this principle. Tangzheng shrugged and said, "Since you're not afraid, then stay here. The ghost will come out soon." "Fuck, don't use ghosts to scare this father. This father isn't scared. This father even dares to kill people. So why should I be afraid of ghosts? If this father was afraid of ghosts, then this father wouldn't kill people." Scarface proudly said, "Hey, brat, you want to use ghosts to scare us and take the opportunity to run, right? No way. Today your life will end here. This father wants to see if you will turn into a malicious spirit and come after this father's life." Tangzheng's expression turned cold. He understood that this group of people were not blocking the road to rob him. Instead, they were deliberately targeting him. They must have followed him all the way here. "I knew that no one would come to this unmarked common graves, so it was me who led them here," Tangzheng suddenly realized, but he was not afraid. Instead, he calmly asked, "You want to kill me? Then who sent you? Let me die with a clear understanding." Tangzheng's deliberate display of weakness made the few people even more arrogant, and even the last trace of fear towards ghosts disappeared. They all looked at Tangzheng ferociously, as if they were looking at lambs waiting to be slaughtered. "Haha, now you know fear. This is the result of offending Brother Fei. In your next life, remember to open your eyes," Scarface said with a sinister smile. The other henchmen also loudly laughed. Their laughter was particularly loud in this spacious construction site, giving people a creepy feeling. Brother Fei? You must be Hoodlum. Is Hoodlum someone you can call? No wonder Brother Fei sent us to deal with you. It turns out you are so arrogant and ignorant. Scarface reprimanded. Tang Zheng wrinkled his eyebrows. He did not pay attention to the other side's malicious words. Instead, he pondered why Hoodlum would send people to kill him. Was it because he exposed Lin Hu's plan to deal with Hoodlum? He did not hear anything. If it was really exposed, Lin Hu would definitely inform him. Could it be Huang Ziang? Huang Ziang had once tried to assassinate him in the hospital. Afterwards, he analyzed that Huang Ziang must have met the King of Medicine. That night, the King of Medicine was always by his side. Other than him, it could not be anyone else. It was just that the King of Medicine did not say anything. Huang Ziang was also definitely not dead. Otherwise, Huang Si would definitely cause a ruckus. Ordinary balance would also not be so quiet. It was very likely that Huang Ziang sent Hoodlum to kill him. But thinking about it carefully, Tang Zheng rejected this idea. Huang Ziang was very clear about his skills. Sending these small fries would just be sending him to his death. Forget it. This guessing game is too difficult. When the time comes, I will just directly ask him. Tang Zheng shook his head. He did not want to waste his brain cells. Seeing that Tang Zheng was not afraid at all, Scarface felt that his dignity was being challenged. I am here to kill you, yet you are not afraid. This is simply preposterous. Little brat, kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times. Then I will let you die a quick death. Otherwise, I will let you die an ugly death. Tang Zheng shook his head and sighed. If you want to kill someone, why don't you choose another place? You just had to choose here. It seems like today is the day you die. Haha, he actually said today is the day we die. This little brat must have been scared silly by us. Let's see who will die today. Brother Scarface, why are you still talking to him? Kill him. Scarface nodded. Okay, go, kill him. Tang Zheng did not pay attention to them. Instead, he lowered his head and looked at his phone. It was 12 o'clock. At midnight, the ghost gate opened. There was no ghost gate in this unmarked common graves, but wandering ghosts and evil spirits abided by this rule of time. A gust of cold wind blew, causing the surrounding weeds to rustle. In this silent night, the sound was particularly ear-piercing. Why did it suddenly become cold? Yes, it is windy. Everyone, hurry up and deal with it. Once we are done, we can go back and hug our wives to sleep. The bed is much warmer than here. It was already May. The weather was gradually getting hotter, but no one thought that it was abnormal for it to be so cold. Therefore, this group of minion did not have much brain. Tang Zheng was too lazy to pay attention to them. He did not even look at them. He directly turned around and walked into the darkness. Don't let him escape, Scarface shouted. Several people rushed towards Tang Zheng. Bang! Suddenly, they seemed to have bumped into something and were bounced back. Several people fell heavily on the ground. They were battered and exhausted. One of them shouted, Brother Scarface, this brat has an ambush. F***CK. We have so many people. Even if there is an ambush, we are not afraid. The surroundings were pitch black. Tang Zheng's light shone in their direction. They could not see anything. Therefore, they subconsciously thought that the thing they bumped into was Tang Zheng's accomplice. Kill, mother****, dare to ambush me. I will kill whoever comes. Scarface's face was fierce. If he could not complete this small task given by Brother Fei, then how would Brother Fei look at him in the future? He would also be ridiculed by others. Several people climbed up and waved their machetes towards the darkness. Bang! It was as if they had hit an iron plate. Several muffled sounds rang out. The machetes all bounced back, almost injuring themselves. Several people were shocked and shouted, Brother Scarface, this guy is very hard. We can't deal with him. Scarface saw that Tang Zheng had already walked into the darkness. Even with the flashlight, it could not shine too far. It was as if even the light could not penetrate the darkness. He naturally did not pay attention to this strange phenomenon. He was only afraid that if Tang Zheng ran away, then he would not be able to go back and explain to Brother Fei. Therefore, He held his machete and took the lead. He rushed forward and fiercely chopped the machete in his hand. It hit. He chopped the opponent, but this time it did not bounce back. It was as if he had chopped into a bone and was unable to move. F***CK, come and help me. Mother***ker, this guy will definitely die miserably. I might have chopped into his head. Scarface proudly said. Brother Scarface is mighty. You dare to block Brother Scarface. If God blocks, you kill God. If Buddha blocks, you kill Buddha. Several people flattered. Right. If a ghost blocks, you also kill ghosts. Another henchman added. Scarface proudly laughed. This group of little brothers really knew how to talk. Several people grabbed the hilt of the machete. In the darkness, they could not see what was going on. They used all of their strength but still could not pull it out. This cut is too deep. I am really born with divine strength. Scarface proudly thought. Little brat, shine it on me. It might be easier to pull it out. One of the henchmen immediately took out his phone and turned on the flashlight. A beam of light shot out. In the darkness, it did not shine too far, but it was enough for several people to see what was in front of them. Several people opened their eyes wide, as if they wanted to see Brother Scarface's battle results. There was no shining white brain matter, only a black thing. The bright machete was wrapped in this black thing. What the hell is this? Scarface moved closer. A face appeared in the darkness, and it was very close to the scarred face. This face was lifeless, and there was a big hole in the face. It was dark, and it was impossible to see what was inside. A pair of eyes were bulging high, as if they could fall out at any time. Scarface's face became pale. Ghost? Chapter 135. Scarface screamed and fell to the ground. The other lackeys were also scared out of their wits. They turned around and ran, no longer caring about Scarface's life or death. No one thought that someone was purposely pretending to be a ghost to scare people. No one could pretend to be a ghost. Moreover, the machete was tightly gripped in the other party's hand. The men were unable to pull it out. If this was not a ghost, then could it still be a human? Who would have such great strength? This was indeed a ghost, an evil spirit. Normally, normal people would not be able to see evil spirits. However, the Chi in the unmarked common graves was too strong. When people were stimulated by the Chi, they would be able to see the evil spirit. When the evil spirit saw people running away, it chased after them. With a grab of its hand, the last person running was caught in its hand. Its bloody mouth bit down, and that person's head was immediately separated from his body. Evil spirits were not only deadly to ghosts, they were also deadly to people. The Chi angrily howled as several people madly ran. However, how could they outrun the evil spirit? In the blink of an eye, they were caught up. After a round of fighting, their heads were separated from their bodies. Scarface was dumbstruck. He was completely disheartened. Seeing his lackeys killed, he did not have any thoughts of resistance. No matter how arrogant he was before, saying that he was not afraid of ghosts and even said that he wanted to catch a ghost to play with, when he saw a real ghost, he was still scared out of his wits and his legs went soft. 1-0 He was lucky to escape, but he did not have the strength to run. He could only helplessly watch as the evil spirit killed his lackeys and then turned around to walk towards him. That scarred face was extremely frightening. Suddenly, the evil spirit sped up and rushed straight at him, grabbing him. He was like a little chick facing an eagle, pale and powerless. He could only watch as he was sent into the evil spirit's bloody mouth, a foul stench assailing his nostrils. An ear-piercing scream was deafening. His eyes rolled back and he directly fainted. Roar. Suddenly, a roar came from the distance. The evil spirit turned its head and also let out a roar. It then threw Scarface to the ground and rushed over. Tang Zheng walked step by step into the depths of the darkness. The cold feeling became more and more intense. This was not the cold of a world of ice and snow, but a kind of cold that chilled to the bone. However, he had the 9 Yang Saint body and also had true Qi protecting his body. This Qi could not harm him at all. With the help of the flashlight, he finally saw something. A huge figure crawled up from the ground. It was an evil spirit. This evil spirit was 2 meters tall and only had one ear. No one knew where its nose was. It was much more disgusting and terrifying than the evil spirit Tang Zheng had encountered in the morgue. However, what caught Tang Zheng's attention the most was the hat that the evil spirit was wearing. As long as one was a citizen of this country, they would be very familiar with this hat and would have a very deep impression of it. The Japanese. Tang Zheng's eyes widened. Yes, this was the cap of the Japanese soldier who had invaded this country decades ago. Although his clothes were tattered, Tang Zheng could finally see clearly that it was the Japanese military uniform. Tang Zheng suddenly realized that this place was once a battlefield and many people had died. It turned out that it was the battlefield of the Japanese and Huaxia ancestors. And this evil spirit was so tall that it must have devoured many of Huaxia ancestors' souls. Tang Zheng's eyes were bloodshot. When these Japanese were alive, they burned and plundered Huaxia's land. Now that they are dead, they are still here to harm Huaxia's souls. A wave of hot blood rushed to his head. Tang Zheng's body surged with killing intent. The black sword sensed his emotions and also began to buzz and tremble. It was filled with fighting spirit. Kill! Tang Zheng roared and soared into the air. Holding the sword with both hands, he looked down from above and slashed down. The force of 10,000 pounds fell on the evil spirit's head. The evil spirit felt danger. It roared and blocked with both hands. Puff! The black sword fell. Black light flashed and the 2 arms fell to the ground. They turned into a wisp of black gas and were sucked into the black sword. The evil spirit lost its arms, but it was not afraid. Instead, it revealed its ferocious nature and roared into the sky. Suddenly, a series of roars rose and fell. Tang Zheng looked around. With the help of the flashlight, he could vaguely see many things crawling out from the darkness. They were definitely evil spirits. They were densely packed and countless. Tang Zheng was not afraid. His fighting spirit was even higher. He roared, "Kill!" He soared into the air and flew over the evil spirit's head. With a sweep of the black sword, a huge head rolled down. The huge body instantly collapsed and turned into black gas, becoming a delicacy for the black sword. Tang Zheng picked up the flashlight and hurriedly shone it. As expected, evil spirits were everywhere. They were all dressed up as Japanese. Back then, the Japanese were not the only ones who died here. Senior Huaxia was also here. But now, only the evil spirits were left. This was enough to show that they had devoured many of Huaxia's heroic souls. Tang Zheng's blood was boiling and burning as he wanted to start a massacre. He was unable to participate in the war that decided the fate of this country a few decades ago. But today, he was determined to slaughter all of the evil spirits that were causing trouble here. He wanted to start a massacre. Roar! He roared at the Japanese evil spirits around him. Back then, the Huaxia seniors must have roared and roared like this as well. Tang Zheng's voice completely ignited the evil spirit's ferocious nature. They all rushed forward. Tang Zheng held a sword in one hand and a flashlight in the other. He rushed towards the enemy camp. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sword light flashed. Although it was not dazzling, it was filled with killing intent. It danced among the evil spirits. Heaven flying immortal. That agile and elegant sword light was like a fairy descending from the sky. It wanted to get rid of these ugly fellows and return the world to a bright and peaceful state. The evil spirits kept roaring and trying to block the black sword in Tang Zheng's hand. But it was all in vain. Wherever Tang Zheng passed, the evil spirits would be decapitated. They scattered into yin qi and were absorbed by the black sword. After absorbing so much yin qi, the black sword seemed to be increasing its strength. It was even more compatible with Tang Zheng's heaven-flying immortal. In an instant, half of the 100 or so evil spirits were killed by Tang Zheng. The night became even gloomier and the battle intent was even higher. Roar! A sharp roar came from behind the evil spirits. The evil spirits suddenly stopped attacking and automatically parted to the side, revealing a path. Tang Zheng looked at this scene in astonishment. He did not know what had happened. Bang! 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 The ground seemed to be shaking. The dull sound of footsteps gradually approached. Tang Jing saw a 3-meter-tall evil spirit walking over. From the military uniform it was wearing, it should be an official. There was no doubt that it had swallowed more souls to grow so tall. Kid, this evil spirit is not to be underestimated. You must be careful, Tian Chanzi warned. Tang Zheng locked his gaze on the evil spirit. Without wasting any time, he pushed off with the tip of his foot. Like a whirlwind, he charged forward. The evil spirit also came forward. He actually had a weapon in his hand. It was a samurai sword. In the past, many heartless evil spirits used this kind of samurai sword to kill their Huaxia compatriots. They even treated it as a game. This samurai sword was not condensed from yin qi. It was a real samurai sword. Clang! The sword and saber clashed, causing sparks to fly. Tang Zheng felt a huge force coming from his hand. It was clear that Tian Chanzi was not lying. This evil spirit was not comparable to the other evil spirits. Its strength was really strong. But so what if it was strong? Tang Zheng would not back down. He had to kill them. The Japanese military officer stared at Tang Zheng with its large eyes, an ominous glint flashing in its eyes. Even after tens of years, its eyes still carried an insufferably arrogant look. Tang Zheng met its gaze. He was not afraid at all. He disdained the arrogance in its eyes. Today, I will dig out your arrogant eyeballs and ruthlessly chop them up. Tang Zheng let out a low roar. He soared into the sky and stabbed his black sword towards the evil spirit's head. To kill an evil spirit, the head must be chopped off. Injuring other parts of the body was not fatal. Even if it was the heart, it was because they did not have a heart. The evil spirit raised its saber with both hands and vigorously chopped down. Clang! There was another flash of fire. But this time, the sword and saber did not separate. Instead, they faced each other. Pong! Tang Zheng's feet landed on the ground, causing the ground to tremble. The samurai sword pressed down, causing Tang Zheng's arm to involuntarily bend. The evil spirit's strength was too great. Moreover, it was tall and big. Looking down from above, its attack power was multiplied. Tang Zheng's eyes were about to split open. He clenched his teeth and hurriedly circulated the ancient clear heaven scroll. Powerful chi poured into the black sword. Hong! The black sword blazed with a black light. Tang Zheng's arm was lifted up bit by bit. Seeing this, the evil spirit roared. The evil spirits in all directions seemed to have received an order and instantly charged towards Tang Zheng. Despicable! Tang Zheng clenched his teeth. Seeing the evil spirits charging towards him, if he did not block, then these evil spirits would be enough to tear him to shreds. Thus, he let out a low roar and lowered his body. Taking advantage of the momentum, he rolled and dodged the samurai sword. The samurai sword fiercely chopped into the ground, creating a large crack. It was clear how terrifying its strength was. Tang Zheng somersaulted like a carp. The evil spirits had already charged in front of him. Shua! The black sword chopped down as if it was cutting through thistles and thorns. The evil spirits charging at the front were split in two. But the evil spirits behind him continued to charge forward dauntlessly. With a flick of his wrist, he drew out a sword flower. Shua! 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 The heaven-flying immortal's nimbleness and elegance was displayed to the fullest. The only thing that could be seen was the sword light flying through the evil spirits, and one after another large heads fell to the ground. In this breath of time, he had killed another 10 evil spirits. Seeing this, the Japanese officer angrily roared and blocked Tang Zheng's path, preventing him from killing the evil spirits. This evil spirit is too tall and strong. It is indeed difficult to deal with. Tang Zheng's thoughts raced as he searched for the enemy's weak point. This series of attacks had consumed a lot of his chi. It was impossible for him to fight endlessly. Suddenly, his gaze fell on the evil spirit's legs. That's right. Since you're so tall, then I'll cut off your legs. Let's see what use your tall body has. Tang Zheng madly sprinted forward again, directly attacking the evil spirit's legs. The samurai sword fell from the sky and landed in front of Tang Zheng, blocking his path. The evil spirit seemed to know that his weak point was his legs, so he guarded them very tightly. Damn it! So cunning. Tang Zheng naturally would not give up. He continued to persevere in attacking the evil spirit's lower body. Kill! Suddenly, a heaven-shaking roar sounded out from behind Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng was startled. These evil spirits had not opened their mouths to speak. So who was the one that shouted out the Huaxia word kill? Chapter 136. Before Tang Zheng had the time to turn around, he saw the Japanese officer roaring behind him, and a gust of cold wind swept over from behind him. Fairy Search, download novel for free. Tang Zheng didn't know what was behind him, but he subconsciously felt danger. With a tap of his foot, he jumped to the side, dodging the gust of cold wind. He saw a similarly huge body rushing towards the Japanese officer. Kill! So this word came from the mouth of this huge creature, full of grandeur. Tang Zheng stared blankly at this huge creature. Huaxia's face was ashen, but his face was still intact. He wore a military cap on his head, and his military uniform had already rotted into strips of cloth. However, one could vaguely make out that this was Huaxia's military uniform, the Huaxia soldier who fought against the Japanese in the past. However, it was clear that he had also become an evil spirit, and had become an enemy of the Japanese officer. This was because he charged forward without any regard for his own safety, and the heavy broadsword in his hand fiercely chopped down on the Japanese officer's head. This broadsword was also a real broadsword, not condensed from yin qi. Both sides were tall, and suddenly it was like two giants fighting. Each move was powerful, and the momentum was terrifying. Little brat, these two were sworn enemies when they were alive. After they died, they turned into evil spirits, but they still maintained their nature. That's why they fought to the death. With this helper, your pressure will be much less. Tian Chanzi explained. A sense of admiration arose spontaneously. This Huaxia officer, in order to protect his country, had fought against the Japanese. After he died, he actually changed into another form to continue fighting against these invaders. This spirit touched him deeply. This was a type of soul, the soul of a soldier, the soul of Huaxia, a type of soul that would never stop fighting. Battle soul. The battle between the battle soul and the Japanese officer was very intense. Tang Zheng couldn't help for the time being, and when the evil spirits saw their leader being attacked, they swarmed towards the battle soul. Stop! Tang Zheng gave a loud roar as he raised his sword and blocked in front of the battle soul. The sword's light intertwined to form an impenetrable wall, and any Japanese evil spirits that charged over were immediately killed, turning into strands of black gas that were absorbed by the black sword. The war spirit's crisis was temporarily alleviated, but Tang Zheng's hatred for these hateful Japanese evil spirits had seeped into his bones. He turned into a whirlwind and charged into the enemy's camp. His sword flashed, and one head after another flew into the sky. Countless amounts of black chi swirled around the wasteland, and even the black sword could not absorb it all. But Tang Zheng couldn't care less. His goal was to kill all the evil Japanese spirits. Only when the last evil Japanese spirit fell under his sword did he let out a sigh of relief. His body was already drenched in sweat. This battle was really satisfying, and it allowed him to vent most of the anger in his heart. The black sword was so excited that it trembled nonstop. The sword hummed incessantly as it continued to absorb the yin qi on the wasteland. It was really a strong yin qi, and its movements were not small. Not long after, it had finished absorbing the yin qi. Tang Zheng took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He turned around and looked at the other battlefield. The battle between the battle soul and the Japanese officer had already reached its climax. Both sides seemed to be very familiar with each other's moves and attack patterns. They had probably fought countless times, and had probably been like this for the past few years. However, neither side could really kill the other. When the Japanese officer saw Tang Zheng killing the Japanese evil spirits one by one like carrots, he immediately roared in anger. He wanted to come over and help, but he was entangled by the battle soul and could not get away. At this moment, when he saw Tang Zheng slaughtering all the Japanese evil spirits, he became even more ferocious. He forced the battle soul back with a slash, and then rushed towards Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng roared and rushed over, directly towards the battle soul's lower body. The battle soul also chased from behind, attacking from the front and back, one from the top and one from the bottom. The two attacks were seamless. Dang! The katana blocked Tang Zheng's black sword. Tang Zheng was bounced back, while the battle soul's large blade fell on the Japanese officer's back. Crash! A large hole opened up, and wisps of black chi came out. The Japanese officer roared, turned around and rushed towards the battle soul. Tang Zheng took the opportunity to attack his lower body from behind. The Japanese officer could no longer care about Tang Zheng. With a poochie sound, Tang Zheng had succeeded in cutting off one of his legs. Putong! The Japanese officer staggered and fell to the ground. The battle soul took advantage of the situation and chopped down with its large blade, aiming directly for his head. The Japanese officer saw that the situation was not good, and hurriedly raised his katana with both hands to block the battle soul's large blade. Of course, Tang Zheng would not let go of this heaven-sent opportunity. A figure flashed and pounced towards the Japanese officer's other leg. The Japanese officer seemed to have sensed something and actually retracted his leg, causing Tang Zheng's attack to miss. Then, the Japanese officer flipped in the air and actually stood up on one leg. Tang Zheng was secretly speechless. The Japanese officer's reaction was too sharp. Under this kind of pincer attack, he was actually able to narrowly dodge. However, in the end, it only had one leg left, and the feeling of standing on one leg was not good. The war spirit's attacks were large and powerful, and the Japanese officer staggered left and right, almost unable to stand steadily. Hey, this is the time. I'll chop off your other leg. Let's see what you can do. Tang Zheng lowered his body and quietly appeared behind the Japanese officer. A black light flashed, and the black sword chopped down. The Japanese officer finally realized that something was wrong behind him and hurriedly turned his head, but it was too late. A large leg flew up. Boom! With a loud sound, the Japanese officer who had lost both his legs fell to the ground. Haha, let's see how you're going to fight now. Tang Zheng was overjoyed and flew towards the Japanese officer's head. It raised its katana with difficulty to block. Kacha! With a crisp sound, the black sword chopped the katana in half. The Japanese officer was stunned for a moment, as if he could not believe what had just happened. The katana was previously supported by the Japanese officer's strength, so it was able to contend with the black sword. Now that the Japanese officer was seriously injured, the katana naturally became an ordinary weapon and was no match for the black sword. Tang Zheng followed up with another strike, and with a poochie, the head fell to the ground, turning into a cloud of black gas. The battle soul stopped and stared at the scene with its big eyes. It looked at the Japanese officer who was turning into a cloud of black gas, and then looked at Tang Zheng who was holding the black sword with one hand. For a moment, it seemed to be in a daze and did not move. The black gas was quickly absorbed by the black sword, but the battle soul still did not move and just stared blankly at the scene. Little brat, this big guy is an evil spirit. You can also destroy it. Tian Chanzi suggested. No, he is the heroic spirit of a Huaxia soldier. How can I destroy him? Tang Zheng rejected. What do you know? He is now an evil spirit, and evil spirits are extremely aggressive. In the future, if other people enter this place, they will also be attacked by him. In the past, he only maintained a trace of his original nature to fight against the Japanese evil spirit. Now that the other party is dead, his original nature will gradually disappear, and he will become an evil spirit that only knows how to kill. If you don't destroy him, he will cause the deaths of innocent people in the future. Moreover, if you let him wander in this world, he will become a lonely ghost. Do you think this is good for him? Tang Zheng was silent. Tian Chanzi was right. If Tang Zheng did not destroy him, he would definitely hurt people in the future. Moreover, he would hurt the people he once protected in Huaxia. He definitely did not want to see such a thing happen. However, Tang Zheng admired his original nature and could not bear to destroy him like this. Tian Chanzi, is there any way to compromise? Not only can I not hurt him, but I can also protect him. Kid, sometimes you are too soft-hearted. His situation is definitely not an exception in this land. Do you think you can save all of them? Tian Chanzi lectured. Tang Zheng's face was firm and unwavering. He resolutely said, I don't have that much ability, but if I meet him, I will save him. Tian Chanzi, don't be long-winded. Are you going to help or not? Tian Chanzi sighed. I really don't know what to do with you. Okay, I will help you this time. The best way to protect this big guy is to find him a place to live. Don't let him wander between heaven and earth. Tang Zheng said dejectedly, Where am I going to find him a place to live? I can't bring him home, right? Bring him home? Do you want your grandfather's life? Of course not. Since you said so, you must have a way. Hurry up and say it. Don't dilly-dally. Tang Zheng impatiently urged. Black Sword, the black sword in your hand is his place of residence. Just like how the black-clothed man imprisoned the black monarch snake soul in the black sword, you can also absorb him into the black sword. Really? Doesn't the black sword like to absorb yin qi? The war spirit is condensed from yin qi. Won't it be absorbed by the black sword? Tang Zheng asked worriedly. You really are an idiot. You are the master of the black sword. It will do whatever you tell it to do. How would it dare to absorb this big guy's yin qi? On the contrary, the more yin qi the black sword absorbs, the more it can nourish him. Maybe it can even increase his strength. No matter how much he increases, he is still an evil spirit. He has no consciousness and is muddle-headed. It is a pity to see him like this. Tang Zheng could imagine that the war spirit must have been a famous general. However, after his death, he became a muddle-headed evil spirit. It made people sigh endlessly. Tian Chanzi chuckled. That is not necessarily true. When your cultivation reaches a certain level in the future, maybe you will think of a way to help him regain his consciousness. Really? Tang Zheng was overjoyed. This was the best-case scenario. Of course it's true. When have I, Tian Chanzi, ever lied? However, it is useless for you to understand this now. This is a great divine ability. You can comprehend it yourself in the future. Tian Chanzi pretended to be mysterious as he said, If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. However, since there is a way, then I am relieved. Tang Zheng looked at the war spirit and smiled. Unknowingly, the dark clouds in the sky had dissipated and the moonlight shone on the war spirit's body. He stood there alone. His body was tall and indomitable. However, he gave off a strong sense of loneliness. Tang Zheng's heart moved as if he had felt something. His companions have all sacrificed themselves. He is the only one left in this world. This is indeed a great loneliness. No matter, war spirit, I will accompany you in the future. We will fight against the heavens and the earth. Let us continue to fight. Tang Zheng's fighting spirit was ignited and his eyes lit up. Coincidentally, the war spirit lowered his head and looked at each other. A low roar escaped from his mouth. Kill. Chapter 137. The word kill was filled with murderous intent, filled with boundless power. A gust of cold wind swept over, rushing towards Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng narrowed his eyes, looking at the war spirit in astonishment. He saw the war spirit raise the large blade with both hands, chopping down at Tang Zheng's head. Hee hee, little brat, how was it? I was right. Evil spirits like to kill. Tian Chanzi said proudly. Tang Zheng leaned to the side to avoid the blade. The heavy blade struck the ground, creating a large crack. Tian Chanzi, don't be sarcastic. Hurry up and tell me, how do I absorb the war spirit into the black sword? Tian Chanzi did not want to be enemies with the war spirit, so he quickly moved to avoid the attack. You have to press down on his head, then use a secret technique to control his mind. Only then can you absorb him into the black sword. Tian Chanzi said, My head? Tang Zheng looked at the 3-meter-tall war spirit and shrunk his neck, dodging the blade that swept towards him. Climbing onto his head was not an easy task. After all, the threat of the war spirit's large blade was not small. Okay, you tell me the secret technique first. Tian Chanzi immediately imparted the technique to Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng felt it, then he tiptoed and soared into the sky. The war spirit's blade slashed down, wanting to split Tang Zheng in two. Clang! The blade and sword clashed, and Tang Zheng fell heavily to the ground. I don't believe that I can't go up. Tang Zheng clenched his teeth and once again rushed up. This time, the war spirit's blade was merciless. Tang Zheng did not use the black sword to block, but instead used the tip of his foot to tap on the heavy broadsword. Borrowing the rebounding force of the broadsword, he leapt into the air and dangerously jumped onto Zhan Hun's shoulder. His large hand immediately pressed down on Zhan Hun's head as he used the secret technique. The war soul raised its blade and chopped down on Tang Zheng's head, as if it wasn't afraid of being cut in half. That indomitable aura seemed to want to cut Tang Zheng in half. However, Tang Zheng acted as if he didn't see it. The chilly wind blew in his face, but he remained calm and collected, concentrating on executing the secret technique. Suddenly, the large blade stopped, and the ferocious light in the war spirit's eyes gradually dissipated. Collect! Tang Zheng let out a low shout. The black sword glowed brightly under the bright moonlight. Whoosh! The war soul's huge body twisted, and in an instant, it turned into a cloud of black gas and flew into the black sword. With a clang, the war soul's large blade fell to the ground and broke into pieces. Without the support of the battle soul, the blade had finally completed its historical mission. Tang Zheng landed firmly on the ground and let out a sigh of relief. He patted Black Sword and said, "Battle soul, from now on you will be by my side. We will fight side by side." Wong. Black Sword trembled, not knowing if it was Black Sword or the War Soul responding to him. Black Sword, from now on you and the War Soul will become one. I will bestow upon you a name. From now on, you are the War Soul, and the War Soul is you. The sword's cry soared into the sky. From this moment on, Black Sword had a new name, War Soul. Black Sword seemed to have sensed something, and with a flash of black light, Tang Zheng saw two words near the sword's hilt, War Soul. Tang Zheng smiled in satisfaction and raised his head to look at the wasteland. In the future, without these evil spirits, maybe after a while, this piece of land would be used to build high-rise buildings. He could be considered to have removed a huge threat for ordinary balance. His gaze subconsciously looked towards the road, and under the moonlight, he could faintly see a few corpses crawling on the ground. He shook his head without pity. When he heard the series of screams, he didn't make a move because Scarface and his gang wanted to kill him, and he wasn't so kind as to save them. After all, he was someone who abhorred evil. Clap, clap, clap. Suddenly, a series of applause sounded, and it was especially clear and piercing in the silent night. Tang Zheng's relaxed nerves suddenly tensed up, and he looked towards the direction of the sound with vigilance. He saw a person standing under the moonlight, and he didn't know how long he had been hiding there. Tang Zheng was so focused on fighting that he didn't notice him at all. Wonderful, wonderful. The applause disappeared, and an old voice sounded. This voice was like a low whisper, but it reached Tang Zheng's ears without missing a word. Tang Zheng held the War Soul tightly and raised his guard. He had used up a lot of energy in the battle just now, and if the other party was an enemy, then he would be in trouble. Who are you? The other party didn't answer, but walked directly towards Tang Zheng. His steps were small, but the distance of tens of meters was covered in an instant. Tang Zheng's pupils shrank, and he became more vigilant. Kid, this is the shrinking earth technique. This person is not simple, Tian Chanzi reminded. Shrinking earth technique? Why haven't I heard you mention it before? Tang Zheng asked suspiciously. There are so many techniques in this world. How can I tell you all of them? In short, remember, I feel that this person is not a good person. So if there is a situation, run for your life. You are not his opponent. Tian Chanzi had never been so vigilant, and this showed that the situation was really not optimistic. It's been a long time since I've seen such a big battle. It's really an eye-opener. The person stood 3 meters away from Tang Zheng and stared at him closely. Tang Zheng was finally able to clearly see the other party's appearance. It was an old man dressed in black, as if he was one with the night. He had a white beard and a pair of eyes that were like those of an eagle, bright and sharp, with a kind of soul-stirring magic. I've been looking for people like me, and I didn't expect that this ordinary balance trip would finally come true. The other party continued to say, "Same kind of people?" Tang Zheng frowned, and his heart moved. "Are you a cultivator?" "Of course." The old man raised his neck and seemed somewhat arrogant. This was the second cultivator that Tang Zheng had encountered, and it was not a good thing for cultivators to appear in his world one after another, because he was still too weak. "Then I don't know what you want?" Tang Zheng asked. "Previously, I found that the qi between heaven and earth was chaotic, and the yin qi was rich, so I came to take a look. I didn't expect to see you. This is really the will of heaven." Tang Zheng suddenly realized that the battle here had disturbed the qi between heaven and earth and attracted the other party. Of course, ordinary people would not be aware of the changes in the qi between heaven and earth, but cultivators absorbed the qi of heaven and earth into their body and transformed it into true qi, so they were particularly sensitive to the changes in the qi between heaven and earth. "I came to ordinary balance to look for you, and I accidentally saw you. You say, is this not the will of heaven?" The old man said with a faint smile on his face, but this smile did not give people a warm feeling, and instead gave people a cold feeling. "Looking for me?" Tang Zheng was shocked, and his heart had an ominous premonition. "Who are you?" "The sword in your hand is my disciple's, and you say who I am?" The old man's pupils shrank, and he stared at the black sword soul, but his smile did not diminish, and he coldly asked, "You are that black-clothed man's master?" Tang Zheng's ominous premonition was finally confirmed. Hey, it seems that you have not forgotten my disciple, and I am his master, Taoist Tianji. Seeing your performance tonight, it is normal for him to die in your hands, but as his master, of course I will take revenge for him." The old man said slowly, "Taoist Tianji TSK, this person really dares to use this name. Truly, the ignorant are fearless. With such little strength he dares to call himself Taoist Tianji." Tian Chanzi snorted. Tang Zheng did not pay attention to Tian Chanzi's ridicule, and instead raised his spirits and asked, "Then what do you want?" "You killed my disciple, so of course I will kill you. But it is really a pity. It is so hard to find someone of the same kind, and I have to kill you like this. The future days will be very boring." Taoist Tianji sighed. "You have never seen other cultivators?" Taoist Tianji regretfully shook his head. "Now as the world of martial artists and cultivators are withered, as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Wanting to find a cultivator is easier said than done." "Once I take you down, I will naturally have a way to find out everything about you." As his voice fell, killing intent filled the sky. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.